Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Booze Up, the Sunday night Booze Up. You're on Claret and Booze. My name's Gary. I'm joined by John. Nick is currently unavailable because he's had a dodgy lasagna by the sound of it this afternoon, isn't he, John?
Yeah, I think he's had the same chef as Tottenham had all those years ago. You know.
Yeah, he's in the words of Mickey Flanagan, he's a costume of a man.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So, anyway, yeah, Nick has got the shits. So we've also got joining us tonight special guest, fourth musketeer, Nigel Khan. Reading through the comments, it's going to go down well with a couple here, so that's good. Nigel likes to be controversial, don't you, Nigel?
I'm glad they were looking forward to my appearance, the usual two.
Your mates.
Yeah, have they got any mates?
That's a bit
oh dear.
Well, it sounds like you've got a new mate. Look, I met Kamal. I met Nigel on Thursday at the members club. What a lovely bloke. The problem with that judgment is I know Ahmet is a big fan of Nick, so I'm not sure Ahmet's opinion really counts for lots. So sorry, Nigel.
I feel you're harsh, mate, because Ahmet and his boy, top people, lovely people, come over.
Oh, I'm not saying it's boy. I'm sure his boy's a lovely person, but Ahmet
just because he give you a bit of grief in the past, don't make him all bad.
So Nick will be joining us if he manages to get off the toilet later. Yeah. Right? And then we can do a phone in and everything else, because all that technology comes through his side. So without him, we can't do the phone in, which would be a bit of a downer. But I think it's just Nick being tardy. Anyway, sorry for being 7 minutes late.
Tardy?
Unlike us.
Tardy or tardy?
Tardy. Turdy, yeah.
Turdy. Can't polish your turd.
So we got loads of stuff to discuss. Oh, I know. Loads of stuff to discuss tonight. Been a lot of games over the weekend, first of all, that have I don't know, I suppose
how did we get
woken us up to the sad reality of our situation yet again as we're dumped back into the bottom three. There's been a lot of discussion especially on Twitter, about David Moyes is great again, and I think David Moyes is dividing the fan base like Brexit. You know, apart from I think there are it's not unlike being 52-48. It's more like the staunch 10% of people who are being vocal and kind of still supporting David Moyes. That's my opinion, anyway. And we'll talk on that subject of David Moyes. What would it if we were to win the Conference League? Would that make Moyes would it put him on the same level as like John Lyall and Ron Greenwood? I mean, so that's an interesting discussion. It would be only our fifth major trophy ever, so it's a big achievement. But if you coupled that up with relegation, then it could be that could negate it somewhat. And then let's talk about relegation at the end, just to finish on a cheerful note later tonight. And let's ask a question: would getting relegated bother you that much? You know, or would you welcome it? Some people are not fazed by it. I include Nigel on that. I'm in two minds. Nigel out, says Hammer 89. So yeah, let's kick off. So the games over the weekend. John, how did you read them?
I mean, the was it Leeds won 4-2 at Wolves, didn't they, in the end, or 3-2, 4-2?
4-2, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I fancied Wolves, if I'm honest with you, massively before that game, but I think Leeds at the minute, every time Leeds sort of get put into the relegation zone, they seem to, the next game, bounce back and get themselves out of it. I was quite surprised about that result. And Dawson had a bit of a nightmare. He got subbed at half-time, didn't he?
Did he?
Yeah, he got subbed at half-time. I think he was... I think he got booked, and I think there was a possibility he could have had a red card. So he didn't have a great day at the office. But yeah, look, results technically went against us, but I suppose Bournemouth losing to Villa was a good result for us. But look, we knew that after the international break, results don't go away. There's always this chance of us being dragged back in again. But the problem is, or the good thing is, at the minute, you're not being dragged too far in because it is so tight, isn't it? So
yeah, no, that's right. I mean, Bournemouth just got thumped by Villa. Villa are on cruise control. They swapped out our manager for a very good one, didn't they? In Unai Emery, and they're pretty much safe now. You got to say,
make our result against Villa look a touch better.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Villa are not a bad side, and I think
No.
I think my opinion of that game last week against Villa, I only watched it, in my hotel room. In the end, it's the only place I can get it. But it looked to me like Villa were there for the taking. We could have beaten them. We should have beaten them. But having said that, Villa had a couple of chances to win that game. So yeah, in hindsight, I suppose you could say it makes that result look a little bit better. But I think you've got to be winning those home games, Nigel, haven't you? I mean, Villa, they might have improved a bit, but at home, you got to be winning those games.
Well, you say that, not being controversial. Imagine we drew every game that's left.
So what are you doing?
So if we drew every
Shut this
game
door when you
that's
come back
left,
in.
John,
Shut this door when you come back in.
John, you know you're not on mute, right? Go on.
Sorry.
Go on, Nigel.
yeah. So if we drew every game that's left,
Yeah,
we'd probably stay up.
You reckon so? 12 games to go, and we're on what, 24 points?
Yeah.
So we'd have 36 points if we got an average of 1 point per game.
I think that's enough to keep you up. It was great, and I'm not saying it's fantastic, whatever. So therefore, I'm not disappointed with a point against Villa because there are bigger fish to fry. One of them being next. So
with the bottom 8 clubs involved in a relegation scrap, 9 clubs involved in a relegation scrap, and only 3 points separating the majority of them, it suggests that it is going to be a low-scoring target.
There's going to be a lot of to-in and fro-in to come, especially as we all start playing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the Leeds Wolves result was probably the better result because if Wolves had won that, they would have been on 30 points.
Actually, I mean, it takes one less team out of the equation.
Well, yeah. But what's happened now is, without us playing, we're still exactly the same amount of points away from 12th spot than we were before the game started. Yeah. There's still 9 teams. If Wolves had won that, you could have argued maybe it's now down to 8 teams. Yeah. So it's kept everybody down there. Wolves are not out of the danger. Leeds are only 2 points above us.
Yeah, and I think it makes our loss away to Wolves look. I mean, I was there at that game and we were awful. It makes that look bad. Wolves are not a massively improved side. The team who certainly seem to be improving and bringing in. Well, I think in the last 5 games they've brought in 5 points, and that is Everton. Right, so that's kind of along the lines of what you're saying. It's about 1 point per game.
Yeah.
Right. If that is what we're looking at for survival, then Everton are on the road to survival. It was a good result for them to draw away to Chelsea. Chelsea have been on a little winning streak, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
They turned it around a little bit. But I think with Chelsea, you knew they was going to come good at some point. You can't have that caliber of players and be as poor as they had been. I think he's just maybe found. He's starting 11 and his formation, what he wants to play now. Yeah. It was only a matter of time, really.
So look at the 9 down there. We didn't play. Yeah. So if you look at it, Bournemouth lost. Southampton only got a point. I mean, good point from 3-1 down, but it was still an home game. Funny enough,
Leicester drew, didn't they?
Leicester drew. Everton drew.
Yeah.
So Forest lost at home. Forest lost at
home.
I mean,
Palace got beat today.
They got
Palace got stuff 4-1 to Arsenal. Yeah. I mean, it's a good point in regards to the Leeds win. I didn't look at it like that, if I'm honest with you. Obviously, I've just looked at it from the perspective is that they've leapfrogged us and they've pushed us down into the relegation zone. But it's a valid point that them beating Wolves, gives us more teams to claw back at, if you know what I mean. So I suppose. You're good at getting the positives out of it, Nigel.
Well, but that's how you have to. I mean, the funny thing is, I wish Nick was here so he could throw out that stat he's been bashing me on WhatsApp about 5th time in the bottom 3. But how many have happened when we haven't played?
Yeah, look, I don't read much into that. I mean, there is a significance to dropping into the bottom 3, but when you've dropped into it based on not playing or on goal difference or something like that, I think if you're rooted at the bottom, it's a different thing. But even Southampton rooted to the bottom are not really rooted to the bottom. They're one win away from being 16th or 15th, right?
Yeah.
So it's so tight. So I think you might be right with your point per game thing there, Nigel. I think it's going to be a real low target, probably 34 or 35.
But you wouldn't want to go through the rest of the season like that, do you? Because
no.
I know it's stating the obvious, but a win psychologically changes so much. You hope. I mean, but then again, when you look at our result against Forest, you know, we didn't foresee an absolute thumping a week later at Brighton. So, you know,
the only thing about a Brighton defeat is Brighton's a place where we've never done well. Now, the manner of the defeat was the disappointment, not the actual defeat.
Yeah, like you say, you know, to some extent, they've got one over us since we've been in the Premier League with them, and you're right. But it's not the defeats that hurt. It is, for me, more so the performances. Look, I've probably seen West Ham lose than win in my lifetime. Most of us probably have. Otherwise, we would have won a lot more trophies and leagues and things. But you know, let's be honest. You do look at the manner of the loss. You do look at the mannerisms of the players and the performances. And I'm not expecting champagne football week in, week out, but desire, effort, and workmanship and work rate at the very least. And some defeats this season haven't looked good on paper. That's not the important thing. They haven't looked good on the pitch. You know what I mean? So that's the worry at times for me. So
I think it's you know, it's also a little bit irritating if you look at you know, with our fans at the moment, and I know it's only a percentage of fans, but we're talking about there are a certain number of people out there who are just waiting to jump on the Moyes in bandwagon as soon as we win a game against literally anyone. And on Thursday night against Larnaca, that was literally winning a game against anyone. They were a poor side, a very poor side.
Pub team.
Probably easily League One, I reckon. Yeah. They were not in our class, and we've played a lot of games like that in this European run so far, where we haven't really got out of first gear, and we've won easily with our B team. You know, that says that you know, on the one hand, it said he's using the squad properly, but on the other hand, let's be honest, it's saying the opposition is pretty crap. And until you get to the quarterfinal stage, the next round, then that's when it becomes the European Conference League becomes actually a proper competition. And I think you said that about the Cup Winners' Cup. I think we played like Lausanne and teams like that, didn't we, early on in that 65 run. So I think that, you know, the third tier of competition has always been like that. But I think, you know, there are a few decent chunky looking sides in there left in that competition, like AZ Alkmaar.
I mean, Newcastle celebrate the last trophy Newcastle won. They still celebrate massive, and it was the UEFA Cup, but it weren't called the UEFA Cup back then.
Fairs Cup. Yeah.
Do you know what how you got into it?
No.
Was it?
You had to be invited into it, and you would have had to have some time of city fair, like
oh my God, really?
Yeah. So Newcastle didn't finish in the top 4 or 5 of the first division.
They had a
mid-table.
So it was like a competition made up of teams from cities that have had fairs.
So when I say a city fair, it was called the Fairs Cup. Like, you know, I don't know, it was like a thing from the 50s and the 60s, where you know, like great exhibitions or stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know, like cities of culture. It was that. It was you had to be invited to take part.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
In 68, if you go and have a look at Newcastle's finishing place, 68, it was like mid-table. They got invited to compete and they won it. And it's the last trophy they won. And they said it was the UEFA Cup. It was the early runnings of the UEFA Cup. But it was an invitational thing.
Well, the early life of the Champions League, aka European Cup, was like that as well, wasn't it? You used to get invites. We had some. I mean,
you had to win. You did have to be the champion of your league, though.
English clubs didn't even participate early on in that, did they?
No.
So you ended up with some right odd mark teams from some very small countries in Europe. So all those sort of back-to-back wins that Real Madrid had in the early life of the European Cup were a bit spotty, weren't they?
Yeah. Well, you could. I mean, the thing is, the English FA was a bit sniffy about the European competition. We had this big thing. We were the kings. We were the best. Everything. And then, you know, then the Hungarians turned up in 1954 and kicked our ass. One of the biggest ever defeats at Wembley. and then it sort of changed it. And then Matt Busby wanted to test Man United out in the 50s against the best of Europe, and he took a lot of stick for entering Man United. And they say the Munich air crash happened because the FA were adamant Man United had to be back by Saturday to play their game.
Yeah.
If there was a competition, if you had a fair, I mean, is there not a European competition out there if you're basically run like a circus?
That'd be us and Tottenham.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, Conte, what is Conte on about? My God. Have you ever seen someone who basically has resigned without resigning? I mean, he could not make it any clearer that he wants out, could he? He is, mate.
We can only but enjoy it. We can only but enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I think Nick, the costume of a man, has just turned up, puffing his cheeks out.
You're all empty, Nick.
Yeah, I'm full of shit, but I shouldn't be.
Not today, you ain't.
No, honestly, I've got an arse like a fresh bullet wound. I have. I don't know where I'm managing to sit down. I should really be standing.
Charge you the shite brigade.
Yeah. Who's what's this Gonzo said here? Lack of respect for Nigel in here. Have we got people in here being horrible again?
I don't know. I haven't got my glasses on, so I couldn't give a fuck.
No one's. I mean, appreciate Gonzo saying that, but Nigel's big enough and ugly enough. No one's saying anything too bad.
No, that's all right.
Yeah. Just the usual. Nigel's used to it.
My fan club.
This is fan club. It's only Hammer 89 and that. They're all right.
You all had a good day. I've spent most of my day tweeting to absolute fucking idiots on Twitter from the bog today. What have you been doing?
People tweeting you say
the same thing. Probably true. Don't you start, Nigel. They're coming in today. They're coming in today, apparently.
Oh, are they?
Apparently so, yeah. West Ham Online. You'll love him, Nige. You'll love him. Do you know something? I think he's so Moyes in, he'll even make you sick. Honestly, I believe that. So you're wait for that.
West Ham Online's already in the chat.
No, he's going to come on. He's going to call in.
Oh, is he?
Oh, is he?
Yeah, and he's going to tell us that we've beat 10 great teams in a row, and David Moyes should be. He's amazing. He's great. He should be. We should have a statue of him.
Well, we're on that topic. We're on that topic
so I can't
now.
wait.
We're talking about exactly that topic, right? Because after 10 in a row,
he's all right, Alfie,
and a massive win against Larnaca, I think I made a video on Friday just after the draw, and I think we got a great draw, by the way, against Ghent. I think that's brilliant.
And in the next round.
Well, I don't know. AZ Alkmaar is going to be a bit of a challenge, but hopefully Anderlecht will do a job on them because we know we can do Anderlecht, right? Yeah. We'll turn them over twice with our B team. So yeah, fingers crossed that Anderlecht play above themselves.
The only issue that you've got with that competition, it's like anything else. It's just in April, it's just a fixture congestion. Because we've got you've got 3 Premier League games, which are 3 games in 9 days. Then you've got a 5-day gap by the before the first leg of the quarterfinal. Then you've got Arsenal 3 days later. Then you've got the second leg of the quarterfinal. Then you've got 3 Premier League games again. David Moyes is probably going to have to, if he doesn't get the result that everyone's saying he's definitely going to get against Southampton, if he doesn't get that result, he's going to have to start making choices as to how he prioritises players and competitions.
But do we not feel that we've all said how good our squad is, right? On paper and all that. Do we not feel we have the squad to combat them both and make changes that are necessary, though? Really?
No, we should do. Of course we have. Of course we should.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
So it shouldn't be.
I know, but we know from the Brighton game. The Brighton game where we played Man United 3 days earlier. We were shit against Brighton. David Moyes used the fatigue from the Man United game as the excuse as to why we didn't turn up against Brighton. Yeah, that was with a 3-day gap,
But that was a poor excuse.
It was a poor excuse. I don't think it's a good enough excuse, Nigel. Why can't you play?
Look.
Why can't? Because at the end of the day, what do? You drop a training session.
Yeah, no. Look, the funny thing is, I've always said is, players should be able to play this amount of games. If they're playing, they're not training. They always say, "I'd rather play than train."
Absolutely,
Then I know I bang on about the old days. In 1981, 15 players we used, 16 players. 3/4 of the team played 60 games or more.
Yeah.
61
He's got to
games.
stop making that excuse.
That's a-
He's got to
that's-
stop making that
that's- look,
excuse.
but
It's going to be
there's
like
the point.
every week.
But
They
there's the
smoked, they drank, they ate steak before a game and played
I know.
in shit pitches.
I know, but there's the problem, and that's what Gonzo says there. We have the squad if Moyes uses it. Now, I spoke to someone about this. In relation to it was a someone who used to play in the old days, and he's involved in coaching now, and he reckons it isn't just the fact that modern professionals are finely tuned athletes that are ready to ping at anything. He said it's nothing to do with that. He said the majority of the injuries that they suffer is due to the fact that the surfaces that they play on are rock hard. They look great. They look like carpets, but they're rock hard, and their footwear is shit. And I think we heard something similar as well when we were talking to someone, didn't we, at that West Ham night? But I've had that confirmed as well earlier in the week. Apparently, it's really it's impact injuries. It's constant impact the whole time.
Back in the old days, play the Ovis music. You never see the amount of injuries that they had. The ankles.
But they wore proper boots for a start.
I also think now that players are such valuable assets and they are insured for such a high amount of money. You know, players have legs insured, feet insured, and all that. So the clubs are probably, and the physios and that are maybe a little bit overprotective because they're protecting their assets, and maybe. I'm not an expert in this, of course, but maybe they would rather be safe than sorry, a lot of them, and just say have a couple of weeks off. When back in the 80s, 90s and 2000s, maybe they would have just gone, get on with it. I mean, that may vary from club to club, and it does depend on squad availability and that.
It's probably true. It's probably like having a car and taking it to an approved service centre rather than thingy, right? You've got to work within certain parameters in order to stay insured, right?
It's the Irish Tommy.
Yeah,
Nigel just sounded like Uncle Albert.
Unfortunately, though, all those players that didn't get injured back in the day, unfortunately, don't know their own name now. So, because they headed footballs that held the water, and have suffered, or half of them, can't walk. We saw Pat Holland that night. They were having cortisone injections into their knees that masked the pain, and that's why. They're all on replacement knees and hips. Yeah.
No, I know. It's not great. So what have you covered then in the 20 minutes? What subjects have you covered?
No, literally, we spoke about the games over the weekend and we started talking about the, David Moyes is great again after a win against Larnaca.
Okay. And then you come in.
And the amount of shit coming out of you today.
Yeah, and we covered you. We covered you.
Oh, you covered me. Great, covered me. Covered me in glory.
Yeah.
Fuck them, I don't care. You can take the boy out of East London.
We was talking about the results this weekend, and I sort of said that the Leeds result obviously put us back into the relegation zone. But Nigel once more managed to pull a positive out of it. And hear me out, Nick, because I know you're going to go mental about this, right? Probably, but he's right. He's actually persuaded me to some extent. He's right because the win keeps Wolves in the relegation battle with us and gives us one more team to cling on to. Now, I'm not saying I agree with Nigel, but he's worded it very correctly, and I'm sure.
But that's stating the obvious. Whichever team lost that would have been good.
Like that. This has been like us going into the bottom three again, Nick.
This has been like a Nigel loving, right? Nigel also said, he made a bold statement, that we would just need 1 point per game on average to stay up.
And draw every game.
David Moyes' dream, Nige. Respect the point.
But looking at it, Nick, you're looking at it, 9 teams involved, right? Only 3 points separating all those teams. It's going to be a low finish to stay up.
It won't be a large point.
It won't be 40 points, will it?
No,
it won't be 40 points.
I do think that what you'll see is probably the last the tail end. I'd say the last 5 games. I think when it starts getting a bit, because what you'll have is you'll start getting teams that start switching off. Like the mid-table teams.
Yeah.
The teams that are in the middle.
Crystal Palace.
Well, I tell you what, it's amazing, right?
Mid-table, Nick.
I tell you what, Nige, it's amazing, right? They've got 1 win in 17, and they're winless in their last 12. Guess how many places they are still above us in the league?
Nick, you throw out these things. How many points are they above us?
Mate, but they're still above us. That shows you how shit we've been this year.
Yeah, but we're not arguing, and I won't disagree with you how shit we've been. I've resisted the temptation to answer your question on Twitter.
You often do, Nigel. You often do. You treat me with contempt.
Well, I treat you as you expect to be treated. Blimey, I'll treat you with contempt. You do that with about 30 accounts.
I know.
I've got a question.
You got the ump today. I did. Well, look, listen. You don't realise the stress I've been under sitting on that toilet.
How stressful is it sitting on a toilet? It's relaxing.
Mate, honestly, it's just the apprehension. Yeah, I know.
I've got a question for you, Nick. And this is a very serious question, right? If we stay up on 34 points, which would usually get us relegated, let's be fair, does Moyes get credit for keeping us up?
Of course he fucking doesn't. Moyes doesn't get credit. He doesn't get credit for fuck all. If he saves us from his own mess, from his own fuck up, he ain't going to get, Moyes has saved us again. Moyes is the reason we're there.
I don't want to say I triggered him, but I triggered him.
I think. Look, if he keeps us up, he keeps us up. It's irrelevant.
No,
if he keeps us up, he's not going to get.
Come on. Fucking Zola got sacked for keeping us up on 34 points, did he?
Exactly.
To be fair.
If he keeps us up, yeah, I sort of agree with Nick there. It's from his own doing that we've got.
It's his own doing.
Place.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a pat on the back for that.
He ain't getting no pats on the back now. I mean, the only thing, I tell you what, the only thing that he can do now is royally fuck up, because if he messes up this Europa Conference fucking thing that we're in with all those Mickey Mouse teams that are still in it. Now, look, I will be happy if we win a cup. I'll be happy if we win a cup. But Nigel,
I hope you ain't got the front to celebrate that win, Nick.
There are shit. Of course I will. I'll come in here and say it's amazing. But what I'm saying is he can't not win that now, really. I mean, not really. Not when you're looking at. Oh, mate, honestly, look. I don't think so.
This is the way I see it. The two really tough teams are gone. The two are really full, which were Lazio and Villarreal.
Yeah.
Now there's two
especially.
difficult teams, which are Fiorentina
and Alkmaar.
Nice.
And Nice.
Alkmaar are better than both of them.
They're really good, I know. They're really good team.
You're looking at it in a different league. Alkmaar are, I think, fourth or fifth.
Third.
Third, but they're losing at the moment.
And Ajax.
So, all right, they're third, but in a Dutch league. That's like being third in Scotland.
No, it ain't that frankly.
Bad. No, it is.
No, PSV are underneath them. PSV are below them.
Yeah, but they're having a bad season, aren't they? So it's
like Scotland's got two teams of note, Nige.
Right, and sorry, Holland's only got 3 teams of note.
Well, not this season. If they's Alkmaar up there, Well, but anyway, besides the point.
Look, I know what you're saying. It isn't full of AEK Larnakers. You know, some of them ain't League One, some of them are Championship level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we might have a little bit more of a test, you know. But like I say, you know, we didn't. Well, it might be a test. I mean, we didn't do very well against Blackburn, did we? So you don't know if we're talking about Championship level.
No, you're right. We did draw against Blackburn. So we were unlucky not to win it. It was a late equaliser they got, Nick. If I remember rightly.
But yeah, look. But anyway, to go back to this, look. This has been touted about on social media, right? And I asked this question earlier on. I know what Nigel's belief is, but you know, if David Moyes was to get us relegated and win us a cup, because he's won us a cup and we haven't won many, that would instantly elevate David Moyes to stardom in the West Ham record books and put him up there with the likes of John Lyall and Ron Greenwood. Because on that basis, if Avram Grant had have gone all the way in the League Cup, would that have made him a legend as well?
No,
is that all you've got to do? Is that all you've got to do to be a legend at West Ham?
No, I mean, not. Look, I agree with a lot of stuff Nigel says, but I disagree with that totally, because I think if you're going to just go down based on stats and what a cup is and what a cup you've won, I'm not having that you're going to put him on the same level. I know on paper because it's a cup, but you've got to look at the quality of the cup it is. I mean,
yes.
I agree with that. I'm sorry, mate. I disagree.
So what is the quality? What was the quality of the Cup Winners' Cup in 1965 then? What was the quality?
I think in 65 you could argue it. You could argue in 65 it was the biggest European trophy in 1965, right? It was the main European trophy in 1965 because the European Cup. The European Cup was full of minnows back then.
No, but hold up.
I mean, Real Madrid.
The
If you look
European
at,
Cup was the Premier competition.
I took an interest in this a little while ago, and I looked at Real Madrid's early wins because they won back-to-back trophies. You know, in many of those finals where they won, they didn't have a semi-tough game. Well, you say tough, they didn't have a game against a recognisable team until the semi or the final. I mean, it was just they just floated their way through. It was a crap tournament. Whereas when you look at who we played, you know, I mean, there was a couple of easy earlier rounds, but I think from that point on, it was quite tough, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, and there's one more thing as well. Like, let me expand on it, and this is something that you'll all have an opinion on, right? Now, as nice as it is to qualify for Europe, and this is something, Nigel, I think you'll agree on because you had before. You know, what would you rather win? And I'll even include the Europa League. Would you rather win, you know, the Europa League, or would you rather win domestic FA Cup?
Oh, yeah, but I'd rather win the FA Cup.
But so would I. And do you know why that is? And I mean this as well. The FA Cup is much harder to fucking win because we are the best league in the world. So we're traipsing. You do all this hard work traipsing around. Now look, if you're getting in the Champions League every year and you're going to Barcelona and Real Madrid and Borussia Dortmund, I can understand it. But for Europe's sake, going to fucking Ayia Napa for a weekend, great for a weekend break. But where is really the glory in it? And people keep on saying, oh, European this, European that. How many big fucking clubs have we actually played?
I think
you play bigger clubs in the Premier League.
No, so Nick, you can only play what's put in front of you. You can't you cannot say if you win it.
But my point is, no, Nigel, my point is, what is the obsession with Europe?
Well, I think it's been really great for our fans to be able to travel around to all these places and have a little taster of what these elite clubs have been having for many years, going to other countries to watch our.
Would you like to play Champions League football, Nick? Would you like West Ham play?
Probably, yeah. So if you're at the very top level, the elite, and you're watching elite level football, then you want to play the best teams in the world. If you're supporting an elite team, you want to play against the best.
If we was in court, I'd have gone, that's a yes or no answer. So I'll take that as a yes. You want to watch us play Champions League football.
Yep.
Tell me the best route for West Ham to play Champions League football.
Win the Europa League.
Right. And
yeah,
so
but hold up. No, playing Champions West Ham now playing Champions League football. No, because we'll get slaughtered. What's the point? We'll get slaughtered in the Champions League.
I think you've got to be realistic, though. We're never going to get in the Champions League, probably in our lifetime.
Mate, right? We could have. If David Moyes had invested in January 2022 when we was top four, he won. No, listen, John, he won fuck all at the tail end of that season. If we'd have just put one run together, we'd have definitely got top six. We'd have probably got top four.
Granted, it was a chance.
Because we got top seven through winning nothing.
Listen, would he get credit? Would he get credit for winning the Conference League? Of course he would. I think the way I see it, it's a major trophy. It's above the League Cup and below the FA Cup for me. I would put the Europa League above the FA Cup, I've got to say, even though I would dearly love to win the FA Cup as well, like you, Nigel. I think the Europa League is actually a really prestigious tournament. So I think that would have been brilliant. Plus, you get into the Champions League, and you cannot argue that.
If we win this tournament, this is the thing I'm getting at. If we win this tournament, let's forgo about the going down bit, because I don't think it's one or the other. I actually think stay up, win the tournament. Then next year we're in the Europa League.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, hang on a minute. What's this from Michael? Have you seen the Moyes investment, Nick? Because if it's an investment in West Ham, I'm jumping out this window. What's he talking about there?
Well,
I don't know.
I'm guessing is he talking about the amount of money that we've spent or
the investment into mate, and that's the other thing as well. People,
Mike, don't trigger him, for Christ's sake. And you got a gig to go and sing out or something.
I thought he was talking about investing in the club.
Razor here has said, sorry, Gary, it's a loser's cup. Well, it's not a loser's cup, is it? I mean, you get into it through qualifying, one place down from the Europa League.
And a lot of teams that will go on to win it have got into it through losing in the Europa League and they've dropped down into it. That's true.
It is, but then the same can be said for the Europa League.
John, you're on mute, mate.
There is an element of that in the when you drop down from the Champions League into the Europa League as well, isn't there? It isn't. And many of those teams that flow down, do not go on to win it. They do not go on to win the competition very rarely, right?
No.
So I think to call it a losers' cup, I think is a little bit unfair.
How do you qualify?
I think what you can say about it is the Europa League and the Conference League. What you can say about both of those tournaments is from the quarterfinals onwards, they're bloody strong.
Look, listen. What I will say to you is now, if we beat Southampton, we beat Newcastle, we get comfortable in the league, we move up to mid-table, then I will say to you right now, fucking go for it. Then I will want us to win that trophy. The reason I'm apathetic about that trophy at the minute is because the most important thing for West Ham is staying in the league. And at the moment, I'm seeing that being a little bit of a hindrance for us, potentially. Because we're going to win we're going to win the quarter final. We can't not. We're going to, which means not only have we got a disruption in April, we're going to have a disruption in May as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just want an open top bus tour, and I think that will get us an open top bus tour. So we're going to do that. I don't know where the route's going to be, but we're going to do an outside broadcast.
You can get sniffy about Europe, these lower European competitions. How do you qualify for the Conference League?
What do you mean?
How do you qualify for it?
7th.
Is it? Because it ain't.
7th, isn't it?
No.
Nice.
You know how you qualify for it? You win the League Cup. That is the official route into the Conference League.
Well, we haven't won the League Cup.
No. So if a team that's already qualified for a European competition wins the League Cup, then it goes down.
It comes down a place.
So it'll go down to 6th spot. Now, what happened last year was that the teams that finished, if you finish 5th, you go UEFA Cup. If you win the FA Cup, you go UEFA Cup. If the teams that do that are already in the top 5 or 6, then 7th spot goes Conference League. When you look at the clubs now,
Scotch egg, fuck off.
When you look at the way, I've never been called a Scotch egg before, Nick.
Oh, he was Dick Scratcher, bend over. Now he's Scotch egg, but he's not. He's just a fucking idiot. That's what he is. But go on in anyway.
So anyway, I just used texting earlier about that. That's quite funny. Anyway, I've just totally forgotten what the fuck I was saying now. Dick Scratcher, whatever you've done.
You're talking about last season. We got in via.
Yes, we got in via 7th spot. What I'm saying now is that if you look at the Premier League, the way it's lining up, there's like 6-7 clubs now fighting out Champions League. It's quite possible that they're now going to suck up all the European spots. So we need to be in it to win it and try and stay in it. Being in the Europa League next season by winning this is a fantastic achievement for West Ham. Firstly, not just a trophy win, 3 years on the trot in Europe, never been done before, Nick. Not by anyone.
And it's a huge prize for us because there's only 2 ways to get into it, right? 5th in the league or winning the FA Cup.
Listen, you know, fundamentally, I love West Ham as much as anyone, and if we get to a final or a semi-final, then I'm going to want us to win it. Of course I am. And I'll be proud if we do win it. And yes, that's going to probably look through all the stuff that I've been saying here. People will be friends. I don't care because I'll still enjoy the Cup win. I don't care. I will still enjoy a Cup win. It does not bother me. People can fucking tweet and do whatever they want. Nothing will take away my enjoyment of winning a Cup competition. My issue is, this is my issue, Nigel, and this can't be disputed. If you really did want to win, and all of these people in the chat that really did want to win this very winnable competition, the best route to doing that probably isn't David Moyes, irrespective of his 10 in 10 in the group games against nothing opposition and everything else. He does not win. You saw him against Frankfurt. Okay, I know Cresswell didn't help the situation. He don't throw the kitchen sink. When it comes to it, I think, see the thing is, right, I think the reason we see better football in the Europa League isn't just because we're playing inferior opposition. It's because David Moyes doesn't care as much about it. Therefore, he plays flair players and he lets them go out and express themselves. We don't play Moyes ball in the Europa League. Not really. We go out and we play different types of football. I'd rather see that in the Premier League. In fact, if you ask me, I'd rather see Fornals, Lanzini, players like that on the pitch in the Premier League as opposed to what we've been seeing. That's what I would rather see. But no, for me, I just think that's what it is. And when it gets serious in this competition, which it will, if we get to a semi,
final.
No, but if we get to a semi-final against a good team, or the final against a very good team, then you'll see his arse go. It will go. Well, if at any point we've got to play a good team, his arse will go.
Well, yeah, it's likely, but there are no top teams left in it. Let's be clear. There are no top teams left in it. This is winnable, even for David Moyes. You know.
I think the thing you've got to think about, I don't believe that us beating Larnaca over the 2 legs has meant people have gone, Moyes is brilliant again. I sense there's a sense of sarcasm amongst most that genuinely say
mate,
that.
They're right. They really ain't. I mean, you've seen some of the rows I've been having.
Yeah, but I think people may be just pushing your buttons a little bit, some people. But anyway,
I don't think they are.
Nigel.
I don't think they are.
I can't
Nick,
see
you'd rather in a room with a mirror.
Larnaca changes things.
I do that.
I can't see that. I can't see that. But what I was going to say was, I think you have to be respectful of this competition, because if you do remember 1999 in the Toto Cup, we celebrated that like that was massive, because we're devoid of much European football in our lifetimes again.
Yeah.
We're devoid of cups and anything.
I know.
We will hang on to any bit of glory. And as much as this is a third-rate European Cup, whatever you want to call it, people suggest, I respect it, because I do want to win it.
I do get it. Maybe for me, maybe my ambivalence, Nigel's word there, like that word. Maybe my ambivalence towards cup wins and stuff like that is because, do you know something? I don't associate it with West Ham. Not really. I've never known it. So I'm not that bothered. And that is why when people hear me rant and stuff like that, they some people who don't know the situation, they will class me as a new fan who's entitled. I rant because I want trophies. No, I don't. I just want to see good football. That's my best memories. Like the best season in my lifetime was in 15-16. What did we win? Fuck all. All we had was a season full of memories, great nights, some giant killing, some beautiful football, some heroes on the pitch. Some flair players. That's what that's the football I love, and that's what I want. And don't get me wrong. Yes, if you're talking about, I mean, you saw Antonio Conte the other day. I think he's another one that's basically. I think these managers are outdated now. If you look at the Premier League, look at the managers that are doing extremely well now. None of them are that style anymore. And I know you could probably only go back a few years to when Conte was successful. But the majority of teams now, successful teams, even ones that are not Man City, which people will say, look at Brighton, look at Fulham, they're progressive teams, progressive managers. I do think this type of manager...
Hold up. I'm not having that about with the Fulham manager, Nick.
They've expired.
2 years ago,
this style of football was expired.
Ago, he was actually bombing at Everton. You would not have touched him with a barge pole.
No, but Nigel, I'm talking about style of football, Nigel.
Hold up.
Football style.
Hold up. How good was his style at Everton when he was
How good was Everton? How good was he at Moyes when he went to Sociedad?
You're bigging up the geezer at Fulham, Silva. Yeah, he's been there about a year and a half. Yeah, he did okay at Hull, but couldn't keep him up. Yeah,
Nigel.
Watford didn't really do that great.
Did I mention a manager's name? I said football styles. Football styles.
How long have Fulham been playing progressive football then?
Would have been trying to do it for the whole time. They've always tried to play football in the right. They've never done what we do, Nige. They've never tried to do what we do in meaningful games, mate.
We've only been doing that recently. We've only been playing that way
mate.
the last.
I think you're using a bad example, to be honest. I think if you want to use a good example of great progressive football and excellent management, you point to Brighton. You don't point to Fulham.
But I said Brighton. Fulham. Nigel picked me up on Fulham.
Yeah, because what you're doing is you're looking at the teams above us.
Well, Nigel, tell me.
All misty-eyed about them.
I'm making a point. Tell me now in the Premier League. Tell me now in the Premier League. No, it's not. What I'm saying is pragmatic managers have expired. Tell me pragmatic managers in the Premier League now that are successful versus you might find one. You could call Thomas Frank a bit pragmatic, but he plays. But he plays.
So you're talking about the Premier League, yeah? You're digging out Conte, yeah? Where were they sitting though?
Conte, they're sitting fourth with a load of money behind them, Nigel. A different level of club. And because Conte is better at pragmatic, Conte is a better manager than Moyes. If you're going to go out,
no, Nick, I'm not disputing because what you're doing here, you're moving the goalposts, yeah, as we go along. You say to me, point out a pragmatic manager in the Premier League. Well, Conte is the Italian David Moyes.
Where do you see Spurs finishing?
6.
Is that successful for them?
Probably not. No.
No. There you go.
Yeah, but what are you judging? But what are you judging that by, Nick?
Them as a club, they want top 4, don't they?
Yeah, they
Levy wants top four.
But if you speak to a lot of Tottenham fans, they're still not happy with sitting fourth. They're not happy with the style, are they? Like you've said before, isn't it?
No. This is the thing. I do think.
Okay,
I can't. So let's go back to it 1 minute. So you think? I know you don't, John. So Nigel, you don't think the style of football is relevant?
Of course, I do.
I do. Because that's sort of what. But the thing is, and what I've been trying to say, even if you look to the Championship, you look at the likes of Company at Burnley, what he's done there. I do think that style of football is being phased out.
No,
I
get you.
No, I agree with that as well. I agree with that.
I agree. The tactics go through phases. Like what the systems they played in the 50s and 60s were gone in the 70s and the 80s. 4-4-2 weren't a thing until it might have been Alf Ramsey, the wingless wonders they called it when he won the world. Nobody had ever played without wingers. Ralph Ramsey turns up, does it, and wins the World Cup. And it changes the way football was played. The Hungarians turned up, as I said, beat England. Everybody then reverted to playing Hungarian football, including West Ham. That was the kickstart of the West Ham Academy. Hungary turning up and beating England. It all changes.
If we was in Spurs' position, Nick, of fourth, but still playing the shit way, the pragmatic way that Moyes has got us playing this season, be honest, would you be happy with being fourth?
I'll tell you what.
Be honest.
No, I'm going to tell you now. I don't think when we were doing one under Moyes, we were playing as boring a football as what Spurs are.
I agree.
Now, if you watch Spurs against fucking Southampton, would I be happy with that? Not a fucking chance. That was gutless. It was awful. Yeah. Terrible football. And you know what? Some people have come out and I've gone back and forth on that. We've all seen the Antonio interview, haven't we? Conte interview. I've gone back and forth on it. Part of me thinks, it's refreshing. He's come out and he's spoken his mind. But then you look at the facts. The guy's just basically handed his notice in and absolving himself of all blame. It's everyone else's fault. That's all he's done now. Because his way ain't working. And he can't get those players to buy into shitty, defensive, pragmatic football. He can't do it because they're not interested.
Yeah, Conte's a fraud, mate. I really believe that. Because
he is.
When he was in hospital with his operation and they beat Man City, he tweeted out pictures of the Spurs squad and was saying we're all together and all that. Mm-hmm. And 3 weeks later now, whatever it is, he's calling them out as cowards and all this. I mean,
surely his position's untenable now.
He's going in the summer, isn't he? He's going.
He's got to go now. I'm sorry if you're Daniel Levy. The only reason for leaving him there is just to annoy him even more. That's the only reason. The only reason to leave him there is to wind Conte up further because it's obvious. Maybe. The thing is, if Conte had anything about him, he'd walk himself after that.
Well, the thing is, I think Levy's the type of guy you don't really go toe to toe with, do you? Not really, because
there's only one winner.
There's only one winner.
I'm not going to argue with that. Conte is better than Moyes. I'm not.
He's better than Moyes, mate.
I'm not sitting here defending Moyes.
I'd put Nigel in the dugout over Moyes. I would.
I think what you said recently in the season so far, Nick, is you said because you were actually talking up Jose Mourinho a couple of weeks ago.
I weren't talking. I weren't talking him up.
You said you wouldn't out of choice go and get Jose, but you said if we ended up with Jose, you said at least it would be successful pragmatism.
Because this is what we're saying, and this is
which again, I'd be good with that as well.
Yeah,
that'd be fine.
That was based on the fact that David Sullivan had come out and said that if they got rid of David Moyes, they would only look to recruit another manager like David Moyes, which says pragmatist. Now, if you're going to go out and get a pragmatist, I'd rather go out and get the best one that there is, the guy that bores you to tears, but might actually win you something and do well. And I know people are going to come back and say, you're at the Conference League quarter-final, but ultimately, he is the best one. And you said that, Nigel, as well. If you're looking at pragmatists, Mourinho probably is the best out of the lot of them.
The trophies, even the fact that, and funny enough, I actually think Mourinho made the Conference League a more respectable trophy by going and winning it.
Yeah, I agree. And also, he had the tattoo done afterwards, and he was crying with his first trophy with Roma. And we could be it's only the second year of the competition. No little club has won this tournament, right?
And Mourinho's the only current manager to have won all 3 European trophies.
I know. Do you know what the funny thing was with Spurs? And that was Spurs and Mourinho. We'll finish with Spurs now, but I do find them funny. And that was when they sacked the bloke who wins trophies for fun before the cup final.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fucking unbelievable.
I ain't having.
Who would do that? Who would do
I ain't
that?
having
A word on Conte. That was fucking embarrassing. Watching a bloke have a meltdown like that, wasn't it?
It was a calculated meltdown, though, Gary.
Yeah,
How can it
exactly.
be embarrassing?
Yeah.
How can it be?
Yeah.
It's got to be fun. This is brilliant. You know,
Yeah.
This is, you know, people go, oh, we shouldn't laugh when we're in the situation. And I get that, but you can only enjoy it because it's Spurs.
Do you know what? Do you know what though? It's actually it was a really it was a really ballsy version of what Moyes does. Like Moyes is like a limp version of Conte. He'll come out in post-match comments and he'll throw like one player under the bus or something like that. But Conte's literally come out and just fucking thrown everyone. They're all shit. This is why Spurs ain't won nothing for 20 years.
I know. He was saying all the stuff that we say about Spurs. He was saying it, and he's the manager.
But listen. But he's right, and the Spurs fans, they're not happy. He is a successful pragmatist, and they're still not happy.
I know.
No, but the thing about it with Conte is we just imagine that was Moyes, but we would have every right as the Tottenham fans have got to sit there and go, but it's your tactics, mate.
Anyway, as John says, let's get away from Spurs. This is not Spurs.
We will. Taylor, Tay. Hang on 1 minute, Taylor. Like look, listen. I like all these guys. I do. They wind me up, but I like them all. But the fact of the matter is, yes, we are. Apart from Nigel, we've been Moyes out on this channel for a while. We all went at different times. I went first. Gary went. John went. We all went. We've seen it's been 14 months. It was a very gradual thing for the actual channel to go that way. It's going to take a lot for us to come back. That's what you're going to see on this channel, unfortunately, mate. So if you can't stand watching it, then don't.
Can I just add, Nick, you was Moyes out before we started the channel.
Can't stand him. Can't stand him.
Just so you know.
So where?
But I did get blindsided a little bit for a period. I did. But
because why? Because we were relatively successful.
Yes,
but you won't admit it.
I know.
Going back to the original question. So this is in the context of he keeps us up and he wins the Conference League, right? And
He's
say
not going to be a hero for that.
No, what I say, it keeps us up handsomely, right? So he keeps us up. We finish, 12th, 13th, and we win the Conference League. Would you keep David Moyes?
You can stare at me.
Just say he's not going to be a hero by doing that.
He's not going to look. I saw John Lyle at the end of his career managing, but Ron Greenwood, no. There's no way I would put him. I know you're going to say because it's a trophy, and I get what you're doing it on what it says on the paper. He's won a trophy, right? But I can't believe that you'd say he's up there with Greenwood and Lyle in your own mind. Not that he's won a trophy, but in your own mind.
And also to kind of, I think Nigel, you will back this up when you say, because look. It's like earlier on when I said that on Twitter, people say, well, you didn't know Lyle got relegated twice. Yeah, I did know Lyle got relegated twice. But Nigel, before the Premier League, it was different, wasn't it? It weren't the end of the world if you dropped out the top flight. No. Domestic cups and everything else, that was more... The FA Cup was a big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Back then. It was different. It was different.
It wasn't a cliff edge. I could quickly bore you with Lyle. The funny thing about Lyle is we all get misty-eyed. Me and Gary.
That's a good question.
Lived that era, and we get misty-eyed over Lyle. But when you bear down to it on paper, like we do with Moyes, when he took over from Greenwood, he got us to the European Cup Winners' Cup final. He beat some good teams on the way, but anyway, he got us the final, lost the final. You could say he bottled it, Nick, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, and then after that, I think he finished 15th, 17th, and then 18th. Or actually, I think it was lower. I think it was like 15th, 18th, and then relegated in 20th spot. Finally took the team down that it took to Europe and won an FA Cup 3 years before. He then took 3 years. Now, what would you have done in 1979-80, Nick? When
but I would have been a different fan back then, Nigel, wouldn't I?
Division 1, promotion. What's more important, promotion or winning the FA Cup?
Oh, winning the FA Cup back then. The FA Cup back then.
We forsake promotion that season to win the FA Cup.
Yeah, but Nigel, back then that would have been more important. What I'm saying is it is different now because it's about the gravy train. It's about financial stability. And I think that's what Premier League has done to football now. I think, and that's what I think. I think that David Moyes, even though he's outdated, like I've said, I think he's an ugly product of
it don't
the
have
Premier
to be
League.
that way, Nick. The fans have made it that. The type of fans like Arsenal, and this is the thing where I get a bit where I thought we were dipping. Yeah, the years that Arsenal celebrated fourth like it was it was a trophy.
Yeah. What like we're doing? We're 6th and 7th.
Well, no. I don't celebrate.
Well, some of these people that are going to come on are going to do that.
It's a trophy. But what I do is I point it out is it's a great achievement for West Ham United, and it is. Do you know? Sometimes I think there's the West Ham fans' perception is here. Yeah, there's the other club's perception of West Ham here, and then the reality is actually here.
Yeah.
And
can I answer Michael Levy Jr.'s question?
It's a good question.
Right, he says, Nike, I'm sorry to repeat the question. Sorry, Matt, I might have missed it further up. If Moyes transitioned into attacking, exciting, possession-based football, but still in the bottom three, would you still feel the same about him? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't feel the same if I was going to football and we was. Look, listen. If we were, did you watch the Leeds Wolves game the other day?
Yes.
Right. Now it was exciting, wasn't it? It was an exciting game. If I'm watching football like that, then no, I would still probably say if he gets us relegated, he's got to go. But I wouldn't passionately hate him like I do because I hate him based on the football that we're watching. That is what it is.
Straight away, the difference. And I've said it before in these shows about watching Leeds and everything. Yeah. When you watch Leeds look at the amount of people they have in the box, and bearing in mind, and this is the thing I've said about Moyes, where his idea, so he acknowledges when he comes out and says we've got a problem up front scoring goals. What did he do? He then put another defensive midfielder in.
Mate, I know.
Bonkers. And I'm sorry. If you look at Leeds, they will have 4 or 5 people in the box. Now, it leaves them susceptible on the break. But what it does is it gives them a damn sight better chance of scoring a goal because they've got more people in the box. And this is the problem with Moyes.
Go on, mate.
But that's what I was saying to you the other week, Nigel. I know you disagree totally, but even under Allardyce, and I know you hate him, and I know you hate his style of football, but even under Allardyce, we had people in the box. We were putting balls in the box, and
but we were lumping them up from the back of Andy Carroll.
But Nigel, as ugly as it was
effective.
It was effective, and we was up the other teams. We was up in the other opposition's end. More often,
not Nigel. That was bad. I'm not advocating Sam Allardyce ball, but it weren't worse than what we're watching this season.
Now it's so slow. It's
bad. Look, I ain't sitting it, and this is the thing.
I know you're not.
People turn around and go, "Oh, he's a Moyes lover," and
no, you're not. You're not.
Yes, I'm not a Moyes lover.
Yeah.
I would. No, he's not. Look, he has to have a jive. Look. But what I will do is I will defend him. That's you, mate. I will defend him.
And I'll flip-flop again.
I will defend him when people go for him on some of the things that they say, which frankly are not true. At the end of the day, if it was good, we wouldn't be sitting third from bottom for the 5th time this season, Nick.
No, that's right. That's right.
Even though 2 times were when we haven't played football. But anyway,
it's still 5 times though. That's like it ain't good, is it? It's not good.
In terms of relegation,
and I think, how many corners have we turned this year? Have we done a full circle yet?
We don't get a lot of corners, do we?
Are you bothered about relegation?
That should be the last topic before we go to the phone calls. Actually,
like we said earlier, right?
I'm just going to send thingy bomb me number and then you can phone.
Does relegation bother you as a fan, or is it more the predicament that it could put the club in financially? If there were no financial implications, relegation, I wouldn't give a shit about relegation. I would embrace it to some extent, playing teams that we ain't played for a long time and seeing different things. The Premier League, to me personally, isn't the be all and end all. In fact, more often than not, the Premier League does bore me because I know West Ham are really not going to compete in terms of challenging to win it or even challenging for top 4, which is why under Moyes last season was quite a surprise for me. But obviously, the financial implications, if we don't bounce straight back up, the financial implications for me as a fan are what is the most worrying thing. You know what I mean?
Happy Hammerette.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, right? David Sullivan, I know he's lacking his partner now in David Gold. By the way, let's just say a couple of words about Jacqueline Gold.
That was awful.
Yeah, terrible. 62 years old. It's no age, is it? It's so briefly after losing the dad as well. So, but moving on, Sullivan.
Does that explain why Dan Cunningham's been put on the board?
Because
she's obviously been dying for a while, hasn't she?
I think he's been on the board for some time now. I don't know whether that's as a result that she's had cancer long term or what, but yeah, that's her husband, isn't it?
Yeah, but look, James's comment here from E20 on his own TV. I never want to see West Ham in the Championship. We're better than that. I'm not saying we're not, but if there weren't, but it wouldn't bother me if we was in the Championship. I've seen us there many times before.
Yeah, same here. When I first started watching West Ham, the second season I started watching West Ham, we were in the old Division 2, and we've been down. I've seen every relegation since, and I've got to be honest, they've been quite fun. Most of them, they've been all right, other than the ones where we've stayed down a season longer than we wanted to. We've generally come back very quickly. Even under this leadership, I think we've been relegated. How many times have we been relegated under Golden Sullivan? Is it once or twice?
Once. Nigel, no.
Yeah, once, and they put all of they put money into it, didn't they? I mean, we've signed people like Kevin Nolan. We got Allardyce, and he was brought in to do a job, and he did that job. We had a good side, and it was fun to watch, and that was one hell of a day out at Wembley as well. I wouldn't perhaps like to do it that route again through the playoff final. It is the best route,
It's the best route.
But you don't want to be sweating on that last game.
Nigel calls that the Losers' Cup, right? Is it or is it not? Is the prize for winning that the biggest of all prizes, or is it not?
Well, it is, but I'd still rather win the league at a cancer.
Actually, I'll tell you what's worth more. Yeah, Nick, winning the
Champions League.
No, winning the division, ringing the Championship League, because you get more prize money. So actually, you still get all the Premier League money, and you win more prize money.
Yeah,
so,
and you get a pot, and you get another trophy, right? You get another trophy that you can put on our list of trophies.
But look, Eastside here. Look, me and Eastside go way back now. But
family,
it would break his heart. I mean,
what's that? Is that
it wouldn't break my heart. It really wouldn't.
Well, I think it would involve if we went down. Let's be honest.
I think if we was at Upton Park, it wouldn't. But now that's embarrassing.
But you're thinking financially, Nick.
No, I am. Yeah,
I'm talking about as
but that is what is going to maintain the status of West Ham.
How about Nick? We go down. This won't happen. But how about we go down and then we hire Will Still, and he gets to bring in a load of his own type of players. How about that?
What if we get relegated?
Yeah,
but that won't happen because Sullivan won't sell if we get relegated, and he'll want to shit house his way back to the Premier League again, like he did with Sam last time.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, I would take it. I would take that. I would take that. Yeah. If you said we go down and we try and do what Burnley have done, which is revitalise their team and the way that they play and get a progressive manager in, yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that for a season.
But anyway, look, I don't want to see us go down because it would be another stripped down rebuild job. I don't want to see it happen under any circumstances. But if it happens, it happens.
Let me ask you a question before I phone Alfie. Let me ask you a question now. Would you take West Ham not winning the Conference League, right? So we'll take that off the table, but surviving relegation by 17th place and them giving David Moyes a 3-year contract versus West Ham getting relegated, having a clear out and getting a Will Still and trying to change things automatically? Would you rather stay in the Premier League with David Moyes for the foreseeable future?
There are 3 possible outcomes. Number 1 is to win the Conference League and stay up comfortably. Number 2.
I've just said take that off the table.
No, that is the only scenario. The only scenario for me where Moyes has a chance of staying is if we stay up comfortably and win the Conference League.
Moyes ain't staying.
Right? But I still don't want to see him stay. I don't. But I'm saying that's the only scenario where I could see him staying.
Yes.
I like the second idea. If we go down and it means we totally scrap and rebuild and do bring in the progressive manager, something different, something new, something, if you like, a little bit left field, for me, that is the best scenario. But as I've said many times before, whilst he's upstairs, you ain't going to get that.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. So,
How about you,
Nigel,
Nigel? Where do you sit on this?
No, look, this club's never going to change until the ownership's changed.
Exactly that.
Yeah,
exactly
and that is so. Listen, I prefer the question is what do you watch football for? Now I watch
to be
I watch
entertained.
football. No, and this is where I'm with you, Nick. I watch football. I want to see a good game of football.
Yeah,
and I want to see us win something. Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, we were entered into a European into a 4 competitions this year. This is the easiest competition to win out of those 4.
you've been saying that for a while. To be fair,
No, yeah, I have. And if we win it, by Jesus, I will celebrate it like they did in 1965 when we won the European Cup Winners' Cup.
yeah.
Can you say
And
that in
I will
Tommy's
get-
accent?
Yeah, Mandy, let's call it coffee time because after I've done this call with thingy, but I'm definitely going to have a break.
Yeah, because and so therefore, look, and if winning that
Getting uncomfortable.
means Moyes stays his job, then so be it. If
Yeah.
not winning it, the only thing I can see him if he's finished to answer the question, if he finishes 17th and we stay up and don't win the conference, he's got to go.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. No, answer the question. What would you rather? Based on that, he don't go. They reward him with a 3-year or 5-year deal. Look, it's hypothetical. It won't happen. Or would you take relegation, but going down with a new type of manager? It hasn't got to be Will Still. Someone in the mould of company. It will change the way that we play. Use the kids. Play
I'll take
exciting
Gold
football.
Dannon.
Yeah, that's what I'd take. That's what I'd
I'll
say.
take Gold Dannon.
I would. That's how much I dislike Moyes.
Yeah.
Can't stand it.
It ain't about me disliking Moyes. It's just that this
Rebuild.
cycle has to be broken
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
of this type.
Well, it
And
is. You just said you would rather get relegated than keep Moyes. That's what you just said. So
Yeah.
Also,
Out of the 2 scenarios.
for
No, that
for
is-
those of you
That's
that
true.
were season, sorry,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
for those of you that were season ticket holders, me and Nigel, I think you were as well, John. Last time we got relegated, you were as well, I think, Nick.
Yep.
Last time we went down, you remember what they did under this ownership? They kept the prices the same for the increased amount of home games.
Yeah.
So it's 46 games, isn't it?
Yeah.
The funny thing about as well is that people go, well, not in that stadium. You know, as I pointed out, this stadium's an hindrance already.
Yeah.
There's a correlation actually between the teams at the top of the Premier League, how much they pay per ticket in, specifically London, and what we pay. And at the end of the day, that stadium's was never the ticket. And in a way, I think relegation as well will finally kill that notion about the move to the stadium and what it was going to do. Because I think we need to break away from it because a lot of people say, I didn't come to this stadium to be relegated.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You ain't got a choice.
No.
Yeah.
But do you think that only dies though? All of that stuff, and I think that's why it will be so refreshing when Sullivan does eventually sell up. Because the only way I think that we can ever really truly move on is when they go.
You know that.
We're gonna hold it. We're gonna hold it against them the whole way, aren't we?
It's a stick to beat them with, and people
Yeah.
like me, especially people like me that were against the move from day one, from the day they bought the club and said we're moving, that will always forever hate them.
Yeah.
Hate.
Yeah.
You know, I've learned. There's a bit of tolerance with them now.
Mm.
Yeah, because I do see him do some good things, but what boils down to it is this ain't the West Ham United that I fell in love supporting, and
No,
they
it
have
ain't.
destroyed that. It will never come back. That's why I still go over there because I can accept that West Ham's gone. It's in a box.
I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling.
But it's in a box and whatever. But perhaps because I said that in 2013 that West Ham dies in 2016 to me, and it's a new club in Stratford. I've got nothing to do else on a Saturday, so I might as well go and watch them play. Luckily, they still play in the same colours as my team.
Yeah, no. John, what is this that keeps on getting asked about a signed Paqueta shirt? I'll get it and you get it, didn't you?
I've had it before. I've no idea.
I'll tell you what that is.
What is that?
I'll tell you what that is because they asked John. Basically, West Ham ran a competition to win a signed Paqueta shirt, and you had to retweet this thing and whatever. And the bloke that won it turned out to be a bit of a weirdo pervert.
Oh, really? So he's calling me a bit of a weirdo pervert, is
a
he?
bit of a sex pest.
Hang on a minute.
John's been asked more than me, to be fair. John's been asked way more than me.
Actually, I think the bloke had to shut his Twitter account because all the West Ham fans were going into his Twitter account where he'd been perving over girls and highlighting the fact
you're a me lover.
I just want to say something now.
Yeah.
All those accusations aimed at me were never proven. It went to court. I was found not guilty, so we need to move on from that.
Yeah.
Right, who are we phoning?
Right, let's give Alfie a call, and then because I know Gary's waiting as well. So let's give Harry, not Harry,
Who's waiting?
Alfie.
Who's waiting?
What's online? His name's Alfie. He's a nice lad.
You said someone else is waiting.
Gary.
Oh, well, that's a surprise, isn't it? Gary from Watford.
Here we go.
One more thing, Columbo. One more thing.
Nick, good evening.
Hello, Alfie. You're all right? Hang on 1 minute. What? Just to make you feel at home. I know you like a few sound effects on your show, didn't you?
Yep. I like a few sound effects.
How are you anyway?
I'm good. How are you, apart from your diarrhea?
I'm all right. I'm starting to twitch a little bit now. You might hear some squeaking in a minute. Yeah, we'll
Squeaky bum time, Nick.
Squeaky bum time. Yeah, I'm just trying to mince it back up as we're talking.
Oh, you're good at mincing.
But anyway, Alfie, come on in. Let's. How are you doing? I take it you haven't got the Tom tits. I'm assuming you're feeling all right.
Oh yeah, I feel fine. Yeah, I'm all good.
Good. Right. Well, what would you like to talk about, young man?
I would like to talk about Mr. Moyes.
Yes.
Yep. As well as I'd like to talk about some of the things that have been said on the show as well.
Yeah.
Firstly, I'd like to talk about where you said you don't get the obsession with Europe.
Yep.
Can you remind me what is on the photo behind you?
That is Canning Town Lens, our mate's painting of Yarmolenko.
What was the game?
It was a bit more. You're fair enough. It was a very memorable night in the Europa League.
Yeah, but here's my thing. When you say you don't get the obsession with Europe, what else are we playing for in the league apart from to stay up?
One minute.
Every year...
Alfie, 1 minute. Hang on, stay there. Right? I bet you ain't got one of these.
What?
What's he doing?
What?
I can't see it, but...
Hang on, we can't see it either, Alfie. I don't know what he's up to, mate. I think he's just...
He's getting dressed.
He might be on the way to the toilet or something.
Hold up.
This is my pride and joy, Alfie.
1 minute. I'm going to have to put the show back on the... I'm going to have to put the show back on my other phone so I can see
my pride and joy.
All right. Alfie can't see it. Alfie, he's holding up a framed various pictures of the playoff final win against Blackpool, was it, Nick? Yeah.
Yes.
So he's scraping a lucky 2-1 win.
Yeah. But that is so. Yes. So go on anyway, Alfie. Go on. Carry on your point. Anyway, come on.
So when you say about you don't get the obsession with Europe,
yes.
Surely the aim for us in the league every year is to get Europe. And every year before we got it, remember?
Yes.
When we had Pellegrini,
yes,
Bilic, everyone, people were saying our aim in the league is to get Europe.
Yes.
So when you say you don't get the obsession with Europe, what else are we trying to do?
Listen, I get the obsession with finishing, having a great season, and as a reward for that great season, like we have had, when we did qualify for Europe, at 6, we enjoyed that season, we did. But the fact of the matter is, it isn't really. It's not. For me, everyone's different. It's for me. I've explained. For me, it's about football and football style. As a fan, that's what I've grown up watching. You certainly haven't seen West Ham win fuck all. You're much younger than me, so I don't really get the obsession with places in the league. Like Nigel said earlier on, Arsenal prided themselves for years and years and years, and we took the piss out of them for finishing 4th every year. And we've got people on here lauding the fact that we finished 6th and 7th. And they were good seasons, and I don't want to discard them. But the fact of the matter is, the last 14 months, Alfie, which is what we need to get onto, because that is what we're talking about, whether you're still supporting David Moyes, even though you're not, because on recent shows that I've seen, you flip-flop back and forward. You was Moyes out a few weeks ago. Now you're Moyes in, Moyes out, Moyes in, Moyes out. You do that. You keep changing your mind. Whenever we win,
I haven't changed my mind. I haven't changed my mind. But
speak, Nick.
Go on.
Yeah. I'm Moyes out, providing we can bring in an adequate replacement, which I don't think we can at the moment. I also think the way that some of our fans talk about Moyes is very disrespectful. I think some people have lost sight of what we actually have been over the last few years. You talk about Bilic and how much you liked that season under Bilic, but what did it really mean? Because when we were in Europe the next year. We lost to Astragova.
But what has David Moyes won? We got to a semi-final. What's the difference? Did we win?
Well, what's the difference? The difference is the photo behind you. It's the memories.
We won. But that was Yarmolenko. That's more to do with the Ukraine war, mate.
Yeah, Nick, I've got to agree. I agree with Alfie. I absolutely loved that cup run last year. I loved it. And when it comes to Nick. Yeah, and when it comes to and for me, it is really that is the main target for us is to qualify for Europe every year, right? Yeah. Whether it's through a cup or through the league, it is the main thing. And this year, I know we haven't really enjoyed the Conference League so far because we've had no competition, but I'm looking forward to it from this point onwards.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Alfie, how old are you, mate? I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I'm just asking.
19.
Right, so Alfie is because a lot of people
I didn't realise he was that young, mate.
No, but a lot of people say, the young fans, they want this. Alfie blows that theory out the water, really.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's unusual, but if you go by what people say, the young fans, they want this, that, and the other. So I mean,
there's a massive following of young fans. If you go on Twitter, they have spaces. They have a regular space. Alfie hosts it with E20 TV, and look, a lot of them are young fans. A lot of them are young fans that are on there, and they are fully
behind. A lot
behind.
of people wouldn't say that.
But they are fully behind David Moyes. And what I would say about that is to a degree, and this isn't really. For me, I think, and I'm not saying you're a new fan. I know you've supported West Ham your whole life, Alfie, and you can't help your age. You've supported them your whole life. Yeah. But the fact of the matter is, I don't know. I just think I associate West Ham. It all depends what you want from football. I associate West Ham with not winning much, but enjoying the season. For me, 15-16 goes down as my most memorable season ever supporting in 43 years. Supporting West Ham. It does. Right. It does.
And I think I can say, so Alfie, under David Moyes, this is probably the best you've had.
Oh, yeah. By a mile, yeah.
Right. Now, Nick, you might think, Alfie's David Moyes is my John Long.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Now, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying is, is when you look at Lau on paper, yes, he won the FA Cup and he took us to third. But the year before we finished third, we stayed up because we beat Norwich with a late winner by Bobby Barnes. Otherwise, we'd have gone down and wouldn't have had 85, 86. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after 85, 86, I don't think he finished above 15th.
No.
So actually, when you look at the successful part of 15 years tenure, it was 4 finishes in the top 10. That's your lot. Not great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But John Lowell gave me the greatest time supporting West Ham when I was a kid. Alfie's 19, the best he has seen. You always remember that. You listen to John and listen to you when you started watching football.
Yeah,
you got into it.
It was Redknapp for me. Redknapp
and then Redknapp.
Yeah,
was fantastic football. Yeah. You loved that era. So therefore, the youngsters are going to be looking at what David Moyes has done in the last 2 years, and if that is the best they've seen in their watching West Ham in their lifetime, which let's face it, in the last 15 years, it bloody has been.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point.
I can fully appreciate their defence of David Moyes.
Yeah, and they do. They defend him to the hilt. They defend him to the hilt.
Go on, Gal, what you saying?
No, it's a really interesting point because exactly what Nigel says. If you remember back to John Lyle, that was me and Nigel's first manager when he got sacked in 1989. You remember that game, Nigel, where he walked onto the pitch in his full-length overcoat and got booed onto the pitch.
Yeah,
extra time. It's fucking awful. It broke my heart. It really did. So I think you do have that deep connection to your first.
This fan division that we're seeing at the moment, it could very much be generational.
Well, the way we've been in the league this season has not been good enough at all. Obviously, and no one can deny that. The amount of money we spent has not been good enough. But people refuse to, time and time again, people refuse to add context. People refuse to add up what has happened in the past as well. I think Moyes, and obviously it doesn't matter what manager we've got. If you spend 180 million, you should not be finishing in the bottom half, let alone in the bottom three.
Yeah.
But I think Moyes has set the standard so high in the past, and now for people to be booing him, I do think the booing, like the other day against Aston Villa, I thought the booing was ridiculous. I've got to be honest.
But listen, Alfie. There's also something to be said about the way David Moyes is in post-match interviews as well. Do you think it's fair the way he talks about fans?
No, but obviously it's not fair the way he talks about fans. But you've been praising up Conte for the way he spoke about Tottenham's, the way Tottenham are run. No, Tottenham fans have been.
Yeah, but I'm praising him because it's Tottenham. I'm praising him because it's Tottenham.
No, you're never
going to get rid of the booing.
Praising that as well.
You're never going to get rid of the booing. To be fair, Alfie, I mean, you know, if you look at it, I've never booed my team or a player, a West Ham player.
Yeah,
I think Nigel has, John. You know, so all the regular players. I was talking to the cousin about this the other night. About Allardyce. But I was talking to I was talking to my cousin Paul about this the other night and saying who are the people that boo, because it's never been us, it's never been the regulars. So I think it's like a small percentage of people. Because if everyone in that ground booed, fuck me, it'd be a loud boo, wouldn't it? I think what you're hearing there is a few thousand people just staring their grievances in. It's a small percentage of the overall fan base, you know.
I think Alfie's point is correct though. I was Moyes in until the Palace game. I'm probably not staunch Moyes out, but I think it is time to go at the end of the season, right? For the sake of the club.
Yeah.
But I think Alfie's point is a great one, and I've said it before. We know it's piss poor now in the league, but Nick, and I'm not being horrible, Nick, but I've said this to you before in the past, and you raise an eyebrow at me. What we have had under Moyes for the last 2 seasons, for us, by our standards at West Ham United, is classed as relative success. And you can come back at me and say...
It is. But John, as we've said earlier on, the problem that we've got now, the problem that we've got, and why this... Now, listen, the problem that we've got, yes, that's fine. And you know something? I would not be dismissing, like I am at the moment. I'm desperate for him to go because I think he's killing this club at the moment. Okay, so this is my opinion. So I would not be dismissing David Moyes' past achievements if they weren't being used as justification to keep him here and do what I think he will do, and that is relegate us. And I know that people will say he isn't going to, but that is a reason why I'm fucked off and fed up with hearing 6th and 7th place semi-final, because what's being discarded is the present. And the present is 14 months of shit in the Premier League. We ain't getting better. We've turned so many corners. We've gone round in a circle. You know, we've been in and out of the relegation zone 5 times in 26 games. In 26 games. We can't get away from it. No, but Nigel, we can't get away from it.
We go into the red. Yeah, the last 2 times we've dropped into the bottom 3 has been when we've
but Nigel, we're there. But we're in or there. The reason we're down there is because we've had such a poor season. No, that's the reason. And our game in hand is Man City away. We'd have been playing Man City away this weekend.
We've got 2 on Evan.
Winnable.
Yes, I know. But basically, that is why, and that is why I rear up, because I'm so sick of the situation that we are currently in, and people using that, which are his far past achievements now, in terms of because they are, and I will when he goes, Alfie, I will look more fondly on the times with David Moyes, but I can't get past wanting to fuck her out the club now. I want him gone because
is there not an argument as well? Because obviously I follow you on Twitter, you follow me. Yeah. You put a lot of tweets out about your dislike towards Moyes.
Do I?
I saw a tweet earlier from a guy I really respect in the football community called Umir, and he was on about Conte actually at Spurs, and he was saying how managers, the impact that managers have on a football match is greatly overstated. Obviously, a manager has an impact. Obviously, Guardiola would do a better job at Man City than Scott Parker, for example. David Moyes, maybe. But nobody seems to look at the players. It all boils back down to Moyes. Like, even the other day, I can't remember what it was, but I was talking about something. I was actually talking about the fans, and we were talking about the fans and the atmosphere in the ground on Twitter. And with you, it came back to Moyes. Why does it seem, no matter what we do, whether we're criticising the players, whether we're criticising the atmosphere in the ground, everyone brings it back to Moyes?
I think let me just back Nick up on that one, though, because I think the style of football is down to Moyes. And a lot of time,
it's down to Moyes.
But what I mean is we have been sitting back a lot this season. We haven't made substitutions at the right time. So I understand why people get pissed off. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, you know, something that I've never done is boo. But other people do.
But look, in game management, match preparation everything else, like for instance, when you go to see Brighton, you say there's only so much that the manager can do. How do you think Brighton play the way that they play? It's coaching during the week.
No,
It's coaching. It's preparation. No, but that is why they play the way that they play. Now, what's happened is, and I think that goes back to what Jack Elderton put on Twitter a little while ago, and he basically alluded to, I can't remember the exact wording, but he basically says, you know, the way that David Moyes plays, which is backs to the wall, it's okay when you're dealing with a load of, you know, championship sort of, you know, I don't know, certain levels of player, you know, who are going to be happy with that. When you start going out and getting different levels of player in, they're not going to be interested in playing this style. And the other thing as well,
Nick,
go on.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Should this group of players, whether they're managed by David Moyes, whether they're managed by me, whether they're managed by you, should this group of supposedly brilliant players, we've got players like Lucas Paqueta, Declan Rice, Saïd Benrahma, who's getting hyped up all season, should they be, no matter who's managing them, near the bottom three?
No, and that's why it's such an amazing achievement by David Moyes this year.
Yeah, but what? It always comes back to Moyes. What? Even if you look at the amount of chances we've missed in big games.
Yes,
I'm completely. Moyes has been. I've said so many times. Moyes has been shocking.
Yeah, but you know what? When you're hamstrung by the manager, which we are. You know, I don't know. No, but Nigel, was we not hamstrung against Brighton by David Moyes?
I'll tell you what we were.
Was we not hamstrung?
I'll tell you what, against Spurs.
Did the players give up?
Gutless players on the pitch, Nick.
But you
want to put
Nigel.
Moyes don't send them out there and say, "Don't make."
Nigel, you've played football, Alfie. I'm assuming you play football as well. I've played football. I coach football, even with kids, right? And John will say it's the same with academy players. You've still, even with grown men, you've got to keep them interested. You've got to. So if they're not inspired, if they're not buying into what you're selling, these players don't have to stay here. They can go elsewhere. That's why these managers like David Moyes. But that is why David Moyes gets paid $5 million a year. He ain't a babysitter. He's there to devise tactics to get the best out of that group of players, motivate them, and deliver it. He doesn't build around players. He wants players to fit into his fucking system, and you don't buy the right players for that.
I think the players deserve criticism, but I think Moyes deserves every bit of criticism he's got.
100%.
To be honest.
Moyes deserves criticism.
The thing about Nick is, Nick, you go and look at your Twitter. Yeah, it's Moyes. Every answer you give is Moyes' fault. Do you know what? If they put the prices up, you'd blame Moyes. I swear you would.
I would. Yeah. I'll blame him for the fact I've got the shits at the moment. Actually.
You know, I'd like £10 for a burger. Fucking David Moyes, charging me this money for a burger. I will. Cheese they put in the burgers. Listen.
I will say that I am obsessive about David Moyes. Now I know full well I am. But you know why that is? Because people are starting to flip back. No, I'm passionate. Was you mad when you wanted Sam Allardyce out?
I was level-headed about it.
No, you weren't, Nigel. You weren't, Nigel. No. When you feel passionate about something and you love something, like I love West Ham, and I believe something, I believe that this bloke is a cancer for this club now. Not because of what he's done in the past. He's done good things before, but that's run its course a long time ago. Now we need a change. That's what I believe.
When you say... You've said before that you some of the stuff I say about Moyes is too far, which obviously you can have that point of view. I don't mind. I don't dispute anyone who.
As you said though, Alfie, as you said, now I've spoken to you, it's a little bit different, but it is a little bit different.
Let Alfie finish.
Yeah. But what I was going to say is, you make yourself at times seem a bit not deluded, but obviously you're entitled to blame Moyes. But when you're blaming Moyes for absolutely everything,
Alfie, I could say the same about you and all your followers that seem deluded. When, like, for instance, Gary, listen, this was Alfie's opinion against Brighton. David Moyes did exactly the right thing by taking the strikers off and putting Cornet on.
Oh, fucking hell.
Against Brighton.
Not against Brighton, against Villa. He did exactly the right thing.
I completely agree with what
this is what I'm saying,
Jack.
So this is what I'm saying. He talks about deluded. Alfie will not question anything about David Moyes' tactically.
No, I will. Have I not said
No,
this
he will
season
when he
Moyes
does.
tactically
He
has been
does.
poor? Have I not said his press has been terrible?
Yeah, but
Do you know what, Nick?
No,
No, that
against
wasn't
Villa,
a
listen,
bad tactic.
Villa were playing a high line.
Nigel, it was an idea. They were playing a high line. We were trying to angle balls in.
Cornet could have stayed on side. It might have been different.
But he couldn't. And
exactly.
But you know something?
Moyes' fault. It's fucking
but
Cornet's
listen,
fault.
but Alfie, as you said in your tweet, Cornet spent his whole career offside. So was it a good tactic?
Yeah, it was a good tactical fit because if he gets one out, we tried that ball about 7 times. If it came off once, which he nearly did, then it'd be a great tactical fit.
But look, listen, I know it was a tactical move, and I accept that, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have brought Cornet on, but what he's got is he's gone out and he's bought 2 expensive strikers that can't play on their own. The one that he played against Villa was the player that Villa sold to us because he couldn't play as a lone striker. We played him as a lone. We played him as a lone striker against.
I said myself, I thought the Ings signing was terrible. I still think it's terrible, and I tweeted that out on the game, the day of the Nottingham game,
terrible,
and I had to delete it because I got
But
so much
terrible,
abuse when he scored 2 goals.
Yeah, but Alfie, terrible why? Because you can't say it's terrible because he's a proven Premier League goal scorer. So are you?
I'll tell you what,
it's terrible because Moyes can't play him rightly.
No. I think it's terrible because we were in January. He was, one, he can't fit into Moyes' system.
He signed him.
2, he's one of our highest earners, despite evidently being a finished player in terms of all-round game. He's still a good finisher. If you give him a chance, he'll score a goal. But I've watched him. I've watched a lot of Aston Villa in the last year. He's not the player he once was. A high wage for someone who's 30.
He was still the top scorer when we bought him.
Yeah, but he was their top scorer. But it's quite obvious why they wanted to shift him on.
Because he can't play the lone striker role.
Because he can't play lone
No, he
striker.
can't even play in the 2. And even in the 2 anymore, he gets goals, but he does not do enough. Someone was saying that earlier about the outdated styles in football.
Yes.
I keep seeing people in our fan base suggest 2 up front. 2 up front is outdated as it comes. That is why Danny.
Listen, Alfie. 2 up front in the last 10 minutes of a game when you're chasing it is not a stupid fucking tactic.
That's a fine suggestion. Last 10 minutes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying to you. So when you're on, if you're chasing a win, you don't take off your only striker, which he was. But the thing is, the thing that baffles me, Alfie, is in that situation there, he's got the perfect example of playing 2 strikers with support of Bowen and Benny and Cornet with -1. He could have brought Cornet on for one of them 2. Those 2 up front. Then you start angling the balls over the top like that. I'm not being funny. It's different. He won't sacrifice. He won't sacrifice defensive shape. So by taking Ings off, it was a like for like substitution with a quick player that would be better at that than Danny Ings with the balls over the top. The thing that really baffled me, John, and this is something that you don't agree with, was that because our execution of the final ball was largely poor in that game. It was obvious what we was trying to do. But the only person who could really deliver that killer ball was Paqueta. He took Paqueta off first, who was providing the ammunition. Then he brought Cornet on to run in behind.
Yeah, but that's exactly where your point falls flat. He took Paqueta off because he was on the yellow card, and in my opinion, he was going to get sent off. I even tweeted that myself. So he had to keep Benrahma on because he's the only creative outlet apart from Paqueta. Yep. And therefore, you can't go 2 up front because he wanted to put Cornet on. So that was the best idea for the time.
But Alfie,
it's not the only idea. It's not the only idea, though, Alfie.
Not the only, but I don't know why it's getting. I thought it was the best idea. I would have done that myself.
No, come on, mate. We're chasing goals. You need to score goals.
No way. Look. I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's like anything else. When it comes to talking about tactics and changes and stuff like that, it's opinions. And the fact of the matter is, there are multiple things that David Moyes could have done there. Yeah. What he did could have worked, but it didn't. It doesn't matter if Cornet, who, as you said, spent his life offside, kept on getting caught offside for fucking 10 minutes. The fact of the matter is, it didn't work. So we can't say it was a right move because it did not work.
Yeah, but he literally only played about 7 minutes.
There's another problem. There's another problem. Whose fault's that?
I've said myself in a tweet. I've said that myself. The timing of the subs is not good.
No.
But in terms of the actual selection of the sub, Skamaka came on against Aston Villa earlier in the season, did absolutely nothing because of the way Moyes played him. In this specific game, Unai Emery was playing a high line. We needed someone who could run in behind. Cornet was the man for that.
Nigel goes back to a period when we played Liverpool, didn't you? When we introduced Scamacca and Antonio up front.
So if Liverpool away, we were 1-0 down, and he went to a 4-4-2, and we absolutely battered Liverpool. Just couldn't. We were unlucky not to get an equaliser, and yet he's never heard of it. I will take Alfie on over 2 up front. Is the thing. 4-4-2 is such a solid formation. People say 4-4-2 is dead. 3-5-2 was a formation, you could argue, come from the 50s and early 60s. Well, then someone decided to bring it back in the 90s.
Yep.
Yeah, and it all become fashionable again. Formations go round in a circle.
Like everything.
Yeah, at the moment, 4-3-3 seems to be the way of the world. Well, that's been done in the past as well. So it will come back. 4-4-2 could easily come back with the right players, be successful, and a lot of clubs are going, we need to play 4-4-2 to counteract that.
Yeah, but
that's what happens.
The thing is, every formation. When I say 4-4-2 is dead, I mean back in the olden days, or sorry to say the olden days, but back when Man United were winning the league and playing in 4-4-2.
You can say that.
That it was the best formation at the time.
Yeah,
it is dead now because it's rarely played. No top manager plays it. The only manager who plays it successfully is Sean Dyche because he plays 4.
Yeah, but then what do we do then? Do we always wait until Pep Guardiola changes and we all change with him?
No.
We
don't do that.
My issue is, one of my main gripes with David Moyes is, I think, again, you've said this, Nigel, before as well. You've highlighted that. And that is basically what we typically try and do. What David Moyes always tries to do is he just tries to match teams up. He tries to match them up so we go toe-to-toe with them.
Yeah.
He never, ever... It's never the opposition adapting to us. No. It's never David Moyes throwing a curveball.
He's reactive, not proactive.
He's reactive. He never does it. He just goes toe to toe, and he wants.
See if Alfie can rule this one out as well, right? Even
when people say 4-4-2,
Alfie, hang on a minute. 4-4-2 aside, how about going to the Harry Redknapp style 3-5-2?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
3-5-2. There you go. 2 up front.
Wait, what did you say? Sorry, can you repeat the question?
3-5-2, the Harry Redknapp system. So you play a back 3, you don't play a back 5. The wide players who in the Harry Redknapp system, for instance, one of them, the wide on the wide right was Sinclair, wasn't it?
Yeah,
he was more of a winger. So they're attacking. So you would have Bowen out on the right wing as a right wing back, and that's attacking. So you play an attacking 3-5-2. You're getting tons of width and tons of pace down the flanks, and you have a balanced central midfield. With a creative player.
The thing is with that, it's better. And we played it a couple of times. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we played Bowen and Antonio up front when we beat Wolves 1-0 last year when Souček scored.
But he only did that. He only did that because Wolves play for it at the back, though.
Yeah, but the thing is with the 2 up front, people suggest Scamacca and Ings as a front 2. It would be awful. Neither of them are a runner. Neither of them stretch the play. Neither of them get wide. People suggest Scamacca and Ings. It's got to be Antonio and Ings or Scamacca. And the only times the 4-4-2 or the 2 up front or whatever has looked good at West Ham was when Antonio was playing in it. And somebody said just now about Haller and Antonio in the front 2. And I agree. I thought they looked good in the front 2. But you cannot play Scamacca and Ings, which a lot of the fan base have been suggesting, in a front 2.
Yeah,
it wouldn't work. It just would not work.
I'm not going to dismiss that until we've seen it, and it does depend because what we've seen from Danny Ings throughout his whole career, and this is the thing, maybe I do agree. There's a lack of press when you play them two. There's a lack of press. There's a lack of energy there. But what Scamacca does, if you, for instance, if you was to play our current system where you've got Thomas Souček floating about doing fuck all basically, and you've got Danny Ings up front. Scamacca playing that role in an attacking sense. I know he won't do the pressing and the blocking that Souček does, but Scamacca is a link-up player. We saw that in the game that he played the other day. He's a link-up player where he comes in, he drops deep, he picks the ball up, plays overlapping through balls through to Paqueta. He's got the ability to be a link-up player in a similar way to what Haller could as well. What Danny Ings is no more than a fox in the box. If you're not putting chances on a plate for him, he ain't going to score. But that don't make him shit. That's all Chicharito was. We couldn't make use of him either. But if they're playing in teams that are playing to their team strength, we've got a player in Danny Ings. If you give him a chance, he'll score.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which Alfie said as well. So
you got to use them right. You got to use them right.
You got to use them right, I suppose.
But also, when you look at the profile of player, the profile of striker that Ings has played with in the last few years that has been a bit of a success. Ollie Watkins, technically better, but a similar player in some ways to Antonio in the sense that he goes wide.
Similar
Formerly
style.
was a winger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Che Adams as well isn't a box striker. He likes to go wide. He picks up the ball. You can't play Scamacca and Ings. Like, neither of them press well. The pressing from Ings has been atrocious, like really, really bad. I thought Scamacca pressed a bit better the other night.
But do you not think there is an element? And I will pull you up on this. Bearing in mind, David Moyes has signed these players. Okay. Yeah. Do you not think there is an element of blame that has to be put on Moyes' shoulders for buying players that don't fit in his system?
Yes, I think the last couple of years, before this season, I thought Moyes had done a great job with his signings at the club. But I'd say this year, whether it's because him and Rob Newman haven't communicated well enough, which is Moyes' fault because he should be saying to players that he wants to fit his style. His signings this year have been terrible. I do think they've been really bad. I don't think they've been educated for what system we want to play. I don't think they've been value for money. I think they've been bad. But whether you like it or not, Ings and Scamacca in a front two cannot press, and we would have to play Antonio or even, I don't think he's ready yet, but Mabama.
He looked good, didn't he? He looked good. I mean, that's the other thing. What I would like to see, because that was effectively by the time Mabama came on, it was a typical David Moyes youth player introduction. It was dead rubber time. You know that they were dead and buried. No, but I would like to start seeing, Nigel, wouldn't you? You know, like later in Premier League games.
That's when you do it.
No.
You don't bring kids in when it's on a knife edge. But what
I'm saying is, but wouldn't you like to start seeing Mabama when you're trying to chase a game, when you're doing stuff like that? I'm not saying throw the kids on. I'm not stupid, but a player like him, he's clearly physically got it. He's a big lump. He got a bit excited. He got that yellow card, which was a bit worrying, wasn't it? But I think that was just overexcitement.
I think it's good he got his goal, and I think you're right. I think if you look at the Cornet sub,
Oh, Nigel's frozen.
I said, if you took can you hear me now?
Yes, yeah.
Right. So if you took the Cornet sub and changed it to Mabama, I think that may have been a better shout.
It might have been interesting. But again, I'd rather have seen maybe Mabama with, because the thing is with Cornet as well, I think it was the right thing to bring him on. I do. Fresh legs, he's quick. He can run in behind. Maybe ask him to start his run 5 yards behind the defensive line, because he clearly can't fucking judge a defensive line. But I think maybe he should have come on for a Bowen or Benrahma, and we should have gone for that, because that was a game that we do typically win. But
Nick,
it?
By bringing him on, he did go for it. This is the thing. You go, we should have gone for it. He did go for it, Nick. He did. You could argue that he brought the wrong person on, or it didn't work right. But at the end of the day, he made a substitution that was to win the game.
It was a tactical substitution. I will accept it wasn't stupid, but it wasn't the only tactical. It wasn't the only tactical change.
It was to win the game, Nick. It was to win the game.
Did you think we deserved to win the game?
I don't think we deserved to lose it. I think it was 50-50. I think both teams could have won. You know, Ollie Watkins could have had 3 goals in the first half. I think it was. Do you know what? I said it in my review. I said it was probably a decent game for the neutral, because it was back to front. You know, I don't think it wasn't the worst game that we've seen this season. But anyway, look, Alfie, thank you very much, mate. We've got a couple of other callers. I've given you.
Very good
we normally only do sort of 10 minutes, but you've had half hour. You've been very good. So
cheers, Alfie.
I think you've delivered your points really well, mate. I do. So we'll have to.
He's going to be nice to you on Twitter now.
Yeah, I will. I didn't know he was 19. I didn't know he was 19 for a start.
What's his age got to do with it? So because he's 19, you've got to be nice to him.
Yeah, if you're over 30, I can call your names. But
to be fair, talking about substitutions, I wonder if we can have Alfie for Nick one show.
Yeah, I'll fill in a couple shows.
You can fill in.
Cheers, Alfie.
Right, cheers. Lovely. Cheers, Alfie. Thanks, mate. Good man.
See you later.
Take care. Good luck.
No, look, he does make some good points.
He backs them up well. So
yeah, good call.
And it does somewhat throw the young generation thing out the window, doesn't it? You know.
Well, I didn't think of it like that. What Nigel said there, that it's when you look at it, it is generational. You know, it does make sense.
How many people our age will say, "Oh, weren't Pardew brilliant?" You know, because he took us to a cup final, or they will all go back to that.
Yeah.
And that's the way it always goes. You go back to Harry Redknapp, because it was fantastic when you were kids. I'll tell you what, when you're kids, you don't really understand relegation and what it means.
No.
We didn't understand it, Gal, did we, in 78?
Nah, not at all, really. Nah.
I thought we had to leave Upton Park.
Yeah.
My uncle was going to me. I remember walking out after the Liverpool game. They beat us 2-0. We're done. It's something. I go, where do we play next season? I remember walking down the steps and he turns down and says, no, son, don't worry. We're back here in August.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, we beat Notts County 5-2 first game back. If ever there was a result to set us up for the to follow.
Still
Right.
Still
Gary's been sitting very patiently waiting. Gary, how are you?
Hey.
I'm okay, Nick. How are you?
I'm all good, mate. I'm all good.
Jerry.
All right, Joe, Gal, John.
You're right.
All right, Gal.
Hello, mate. You all right?
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about, mate?
Well, I was listening very interestedly to that last call from Alfie. He did make some good points. Actually.
He does. He does make some good points. Yeah.
E20, and he seems to be in the minority, but he made some good points. Yeah, I think really with football, I never thought about it. The generational thing. It's true actually.
I didn't, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think with this formation thing, it's a bit like clothes. They come in and out of fashion. I don't see why a 4-4-2 can't work in certain games, maybe for a period of time, if you're chasing a game, like you said earlier, Nick.
Yeah.
But the trouble is now, I mean, he's right, you can't play Skamaka and Ings together. You've got to have one. I noticed with Skamaka the other night when I was watching him, he reminds me of a little bit like Harry Kane, how he likes to drop off and turn balls into the spaces. So really, if you're going to play two up front, you've got to play Antonio with Skamaka. I think, because then Antonio will run into the channels,
Yeah. I agree, and I just think what's annoying is what is annoying. I do think that we've got a collection of very, very good players. I do. I'm not saying maybe there isn't a system that would make them all fit. I don't know, but I don't think we've tried, have we? I don't think we've necessarily tried to find a system because the system has remained the same. It's just putting different pieces into the same system. I know he shifted Paqueta back from the 10. And he reluctantly had to drop Souček
let me
for a
give you
period.
Let me give you an example. Whatever formation Nigel, John, Gary, yourself put out, you can always do a counter argument against it. Like you say 4-4-2, what would be the downside of a 4-4-2? Well, if the team plays three in the middle of the park, then you're outnumbered, aren't you? And they get so for a start, so there may be to play a 4-4-2, you've got to play a certain way. You've got to be a little bit more direct, perhaps.
You've got to have the right central midfield combination if you're only playing two in the middle as well.
Yeah,
exactly. And there's been times in the past, even the last 2 years, when there's times when teams put three in there and Rice and Souček were outnumbered.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, we went to two in the middle in the second half against Brighton.
Maybe that's a big advantage of 4-3 is that you can have the three more compact in the middle, and that won't happen. You won't get overrun.
Yeah,
and you still got the players up front.
Yeah, but then it becomes 4-5-1, doesn't it? Then it ain't 4-3-3. Then it's 4-5-1.
It's wing back things. You can have when you say 5-3-2, that can be a 3 central defensive with 2 attacking fullbacks, or times when we've played it, we've had just 5 defenders. You've got to play wing backs. You've got to have the right players here to play it.
Yeah.
Look at Chelsea. With Chelsea, since James come back and who's that left back they got from what's his name?
Chilwell.
Yes. Yeah.
Their form picked up since Inter have come back because they got the personnel to play that system.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, the results of the weekend were very, very mixed, weren't they? I mean,
well, it weren't. I wouldn't say it weren't disastrous, but it weren't good either.
No, it wasn't. No. But there's teams that are still playing for just free.
Well, I would like to have seen a few more teams get a bashing. I know Bournemouth did. That was good. But I'd like to have seen a few more teams get a walloping because the thing that bothers me now it's like Southampton who are bottom. What bothers me now at this stage, normally there's at least one team that have almost given up the ghost and they're gone. And that's just not happening this year, is it?
John,
they refuse to die.
Any 3 from 9 this year. Any 3 from 9.
Yeah. I think Forest losing at home. Forest losing at home.
Points. I think everyone's saying 35 or 36 points is a target. Everyone seems to be agreeing with that.
Yeah.
So we're like 12 points off of that. So you could argue 4 wins or maybe 3 wins and a couple of draws. But I think for us to stay up, without over-exaggerating, this Southampton game is the game.
That's the one. I think I do.
To win that one. There could be no
according to Nigel.
draw.
Not according to Nigel.
No,
Nigel reckons we're going to draw every game.
Not true. I said we could draw every game, but
No,
you know, we're not going to, are we? Are we going to draw against Arsenal?
No,
Probably
we're not.
Are we going to draw
City?
against
No.
Liverpool? Highly unlikely.
No.
Are
Yeah.
we going to
An
draw
average of
against
the
Man
points.
City? I very much doubt it. So therefore, I think Southampton is a must-win, and predominantly it's because of the. I think all the games that we play around us, we have to win.
Yeah.
The Leeds game, there's the last home game of the season. We have to win.
The home games are the key, though, Nige, because our own form is what's giving us a chance to stay up. You know, we've taken 8 points out of 12 the last 4 home games.
Yeah.
Plus you've got
Terrible.
But it's the away form which worries me. And so we're really, unless we start picking up away points, there's no margin for error with the home games. You can't afford to be drawing. The Southampton and Newcastle, we've got to take a minimum 4 points from those 2 games, absolute minimum.
I'll tell you what.
And draw with Newcastle.
I'll tell you what. Looking at that Palace the recent run though, where they've had 17 games, they've only won 1, and they're winless in their last. They must have done well at the start of the season.
They did.
Yeah, they did. Obviously,
we didn't.
They must have. They must have been absolutely flying.
Been
So what went wrong with them? I've not been following them. What has gone wrong?
The World Cup.
Yeah,
Since the World Cup.
Is it?
I'll tell you the interesting thing, though, lads. I was watching a bit of Tottenham's channel last night, and there's been meltdown on there with the Conte thing. But it just shows you
therapeutic.
With levels, what Nigel always says about expectation and levels, because, you know, we've got this rivalry with Tottenham, but they're fourth and they want their manager gone. And it shows you, I said to you weeks ago, and I've said it every week, Arsenal and Tottenham wouldn't be in a position and not got rid of their manager by now. It just wouldn't have happened.
No, they wouldn't have. But I do think, though, to be fair to Spurs fans at this point,
delusional.
No, I don't. This is to be fair to them. I do think that it's a style of play now that's killing them. I think they've had it for so long now.
Yes.
When you listen to them, it is purely the style of play. And did you watch that Southampton game? Oh, blimey. I've never seen such a non-event. It got interesting towards the end, obviously, but it was a shit game. It was bad.
Yeah, but the only thing is with football managers, it's like where the blame goes. You know, where's the blame go really? Was Conte right to saying like they should be able to defend a 2-goal lead?
Hang on.
The bottom team.
We've got to go. We've got to close the channel. We're so negative, so we're all going to go.
Fuck off.
All right, Ed.
All right, mate. Yeah, because you say
Sorry,
so.
Gary.
What you say means a lot to us, Ed.
It does. It really does mean a lot.
Does that mean just our stay
On a
here on
positive
the
level,
own?
on a positive note, on a positive note,
You're not
I'm
allowed
really
to be
looking forward
positive
to
here,
the.
Gal. Fucking hell.
Hang on,
I'm
Gary from
looking forward-
Romford's being positive. Go on, Gal. Sorry, mate.
I'm really looking forward to the European game, the quarter-final now. It's when it really starts. I'm getting quite excited about it.
Yeah.
Because like Nigel said earlier, the thing is, when you look about it, to get into the Europa League next season, or if you're going to get the Champions League, it's easier to maybe win it through the competition rather than through league places.
Yeah.
You know, look, if we win the Europa Conference, we've won a trophy. Can't people say about, it's a loser's. Well, it was good enough for Mourinho. And what have we done the last 20, 30? I mean, I can remember us winning the FA Cup. I'm sure a couple of you can as well. But I mean,
43 years, Gary.
really,
what have we done for the last 43
long
years?
time.
Well, exactly. So, if we win it, we're in Europe again next season.
Yeah.
And to be honest here, I thought about the other night, with the squad we've got, I won't go through it now because it would take too long, but I actually sat down and worked it out. If we had, say, a top Premier League match, say, get Liverpool or Arsenal, and we've got the game on the Sunday, and we've got a game on the Thursday, I actually thought of 2 teams we could put out virtually and both be good enough to win it. Obviously, 1 or 2 players will play. Declan Rice will play both games. He's fit. Bowen will play.
Yeah.
But, you can particularly alternate up front and in midfield. I think the problem we're going to have
is a question, Gary. Right now, I think we can all pretty much say that David Moyes has fielded his B+ team in the Europa League thus far. So the likes of Fornals and Lanzini have been ever present, and obviously Scamacca was part of that earlier on. He scored a lot of goals in the Europa League. Do you think that once he starts getting serious? But do you think that once he starts getting serious, do you reckon we're going to start seeing those players phased out more for the preferred first team players? And do you think it's a right thing as well? What do you reckon, Nigel? What's your opinion on that?
Well, that's
I know what I was going to say.
Actually, the funny thing is, if we've got a European game, like after we've got Arsenal, the week after we got Arsenal, I'd be playing the B team against Arsenal.
Would you?
Good point. It's a good
Yeah,
point.
well, listen, we're going to lose.
If
You know,
you-
come on,
Yeah,
Nick.
but do you not think the B team have been? I know we've been playing worse opposition, but ultimately they've been playing better football. I think
They're
they've got
playing-
us. They've
oh,
got us.
yeah,
But they've got us there. But they've got us there. You know,
Who?
you look.
No,
No,
Nick. It's the reason for that is
The players that he's
throwing.
been picking, the players that he's been picking for the Europa League so far.
You're contradicting yourself, though, because
do
you
you mean?
said it was a Mickey Mouse competition, but now you're saying they played really well to get us there.
Well, no, do you know what I'm trying to say though? But do you
No,
think
I
it's
know.
fair? But do you
I
think it's
think it's
fair?
harsh to call it a B team. I
But
think
do you-
it's
do you-
like
do
an
you-
A minus.
Yeah, but do you think it's fair to do you know what I'm trying to say? To drop
I
the
know what you mean.
players
So like,
from
I know
that.
what you're saying. Yes,
Yeah.
Lanzini has to play every European game because
Yeah,
he's been
yeah.
there from the start.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think the squad.
he's done well.
I think the squad's good. I think the squad's good enough
Yes.
to stay up. And look, we've got Anderlecht, who we've already beaten twice. They could be in the. We could be playing them in the semi-final. We've already beaten them twice with our B team. The top two teams, Lazio and the other side, got knocked out the other week.
There we are.
Everyone was saying, "Oh, they're the two. They're both gone." So
Yeah.
really now, and we may not get another chance in Europe for years to win another thing like this. You know.
Yeah.
So
Has to lose.
I don't want to go down. Don't get me wrong. I really don't. I think it'd be disastrous. We've put us back years. But the same token, I think to get to quarter final now, I don't think we can throw it away.
No.
Yeah. I agree.
No,
I agree.
No.
Got to go
I
for
agree
it.
with you, mate.
By the way, I was going to say one last thing.
Yay!
I think, I think looking at the bottom 9 teams, I've changed my mind slightly. Still think Bournemouth and Southampton are going to go down, but I think the team now. I mean, apart from Palace really slipping badly, they can't score. I think Nottingham Forest, you know, their own form's starting to slip. Have you noticed? They've lost to Newcastle. They've drawn the other week.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You know,
terrible. Their away form is terrible, and I think Forest could go.
their away form is more than terrible. Their away form is disastrous, right? It's disastrous.
Well,
They've lost.
But it's still
it's still the worst. No, but it's still the
Yeah,
worst in the top 4 when the 4 divisions, isn't it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their home form was all they had to rely on, like Gary said, and they've just their confidence is going to be taking a knock at the moment.
They were unlucky against Newcastle to
They
not
can't
get
sign
a
any
point.
more players, though, can they?
No.
Oh, but by the way, Nigel, do you know we was chatting? You know we was chatting earlier about the John Lyle and about David Moyes and about comparisons, yeah.
Yeah.
When you think about it, Lyle's we won 1975 and 80, won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
76 Cup Winners' Cup final, got the final. 81 League Cup final, and he's done one thing no one's ever got close to doing. We was in 86. I saw that. I was there that year watching that. We was within 3 points to winning the league. If you remember rightly, we had 7 games. We had 7 games in 11 days to play that year. It was terrible. We had 7 games in 11 days.
Yeah,
and we
I
won
think
all of them.
from
Except for Chelsea
April.
won at home. We blew it.
Yeah, from April to from the start of April to the second week of May, we played 17 games.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
God,
I
harsh
remember
winter that
beating
year.
Newcastle. I think we beat Newcastle 8-1 at home, didn't we? And
Yeah.
we kept
Glenn
winning
Roeder
and winning and
scored for
winning
us
all the
that night.
games.
Yeah.
Who?
Glenn Roeder scored for us that night.
Did own goal.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Was it an own goal?
It was an own goal. He
I
played
was-
for Newcastle.
But,
I was in the
but,
North Bank that night behind the goal.
Oh,
any ga-
exactly where I was.
How do you all?
Yeah.
How do you all feel now about the bottom 3? Are you? I mean, if you had to put
Love it.
yes or no, do you think we're going to stay up, or do you think? What do you think?
I think it all for me. Nigel will
I
probably
think we could
disagree.
win the
At this
bottom
moment.
three. I think we could win the bottom three.
For me, if we
Top of
beat
that bottom 3, we're not
if
going
we
to be
beat-
bottom.
if we beat Southampton, then I'll start to feel like maybe we'll grind it out. If we don't, I'm going to start thinking that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
Because that
What
is
David Moyes,
What
click
about
that
me?
video and play it before the game. For fuck's sake.
yeah.
I'm going to give you a bit of...
Yeah.
Nick says.
What worries me is the Man City game's been put back now. Now, if that doesn't get played till late in the season, someone said the other night, our last 2 games is Leeds at home and Leicester away. So
Yeah.
if Man City, we could have 2 away games. The end of the season could be Man City and Leicester away.
What if? What if, Gary?
Don't worry about it. We'll lose against City anyway.
Gary, what
I don't
if?
think it
What
matters
if?
when we play City, if I'm honest.
What if Man City have got a Champions League final to contest and Arsenal have already won the league?
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Gary. You don't know, do you?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but then, Gal, what happens if Man City have got a Champions League final and we've got 3 days before it Europa final?
Oh, I know. Well,
What team do we put out?
I'll tell you another thing. You're writing games off about we've got this team, we've got that team.
Hang on.
But you take we've got Liverpool at home, for example. Liverpool's away form, like, it's been terrible.
If you do
Yeah.
anything to me,
Bournemouth
I
beat
swear
them
to God.
But Klopp's
No,
ticking off
I can't
that
say. I ain't got
calendar
my
till
glasses
West
on.
Ham.
Hang on.
No, you're up to saying.
I'm not. I'm just about to put the banner up, but I've lost it. Hang on.
Oh, then people want the number up, you know.
I know.
Lawrence
Right,
Watkins.
Gary, thank you very much for the call, mate. We're going to let you go because there's people in the chat that want to phone in.
We've got an American
All right, mate.
trying to
Take
call
it easy.
in.
Thanks,
All
Gary.
right, mate. Speak to you in a bit. Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Take care, mate. Bye.
That is
See you later.
That is a good. You know, like when they do the relegation table, they have a line, don't they? If we finish top of that, do we get anything?
We get a trophy. Yeah, get a trophy.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
you-
both.
Do you know what we
dear.
get?
I'll
An
take
extra 4. We get an extra £4 million.
Does that affect your payment when you drop down? How low you
No,
finish?
but basically, if you finish bottom, if you finish 18th, you get £4 million more than the team that finishes.
Oh, so that's what I mean.
20th.
So it is beneficial to finish top of the pole.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, 2 million per
beneficial,
player.
Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
financially.
So it's
Every
kind of a
position.
success. So it's almost successful finishing
Well,
first and bottom.
it's better than finishing 20th, Nick. As I alluded, while you're teeing up the next thing, let's just say is we all remember the Great Escape season, but people I think have forgotten. People that laugh at me when I go, "Get out of this, people don't parry." Is that at this time of the season, we'd just beaten Blackburn, so and that was our first win in
Go to
7-8 games.
Mm.
Yeah, the ghost goal, it never crossed the line, and everything else. We were bottom of the table. Yeah, 10 points behind Man City, who was 17th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we
Bloody hell.
stayed up.
Yeah.
That needed an exceptional run to get out of it. This one is not
Oh,
going
it
to
did,
need an
and we did
exceptional
have Carlos Tevez. I get it when people go, "Oh, we had Carlos Tevez playing," and everything like that.
And
But
the whole
yes,
team
but at the end of the day, Carlos had been quite anonymous for us
Yeah,
until the Tottenham game.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
I agree.
That's right.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
these
Came to
goals
life.
came in the last 10 games.
Nigel, as you was putting your
Put me cold. It's getting a bit cold in here.
no, but John said, look.
Oh, hang on 1 minute. I have got one who texts me in. Sorry, mate.
When he saw you putting your coat on, see, this is the caliber of people who watch us. You know, this is the caliber we've got. Nigel puts his coat on. John says, "Is Nigel going?"
I'm sitting in my shed.
We've
It's getting a
got
bit
some
chilly
very
in here.
quick-witted viewers, haven't we? You know what I mean? And then we've got Nick. So yeah,
Shut up.
Who's ringing in?
No, I did get a text which I missed from Ryan from last week.
All right.
What, is he trying to ring in from last week? What's this? Is this a TARDIS? Is it what? Is it
Shut
a
up.
time tunnel?
Well, Lawrence from the US was going to call in. He was moaning about the number. As soon as you put it up, he ain't phoning in. So
Yeah, typical
You know,
Lawrence, isn't it?
Watches, isn't it?
Thanks,
From the
Lawrence.
US.
Hang on, what's
Still
this
peak
one?
time out there.
What's
Hang on,
that?
I've got one
And you
more.
got throw ball to watch, or is it not that season yet?
Throw ball,
Yeah, that's what it was.
What's throw ball?
Throw ball.
American
Really throw a
football.
ball.
It's American
throw the
football.
Oh yeah, NFL. Yeah.
Mm.
Oh dear. We could chat amongst ourselves. I had everyone going at work the other day. I said, "Well, I'm not allowed to be called a manager no more. You got to call me a demager."
Hello,
Yeah.
hello there. It's Nick from Clarent Booze. Are you on the line?
Getting off. Well, she was going, putting his coat on.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, mate. I can hear you now. What's your name and where you from?
Oh,
It's Uncle Kane. I'm from West Sussex.
who is
Hello,
it?
Kane from West Sussex.
Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. Harry Kane from West
I
Sussex.
know, unfortunate name. Unfortunate name, innit, to be honest with you.
Right, but come on, Kane. What would you like to talk about?
Well, the narrative around Moyes, I guess. I'm seeing a lot of people try and try and sort of shit on the Conference League, I guess, or say we've already won it and it doesn't really count for much.
Yeah.
Which I think it does, and I think it's a great achievement.
It does.
Yeah.
And I think whatever people think of Moyes, whether they want him to go, if he does win that, we should still see him as a great. And
you see him as a great.
Yeah.
Can't we just enjoy the can't we just enjoy that we've won? Can't we just enjoy the fact that West Ham have won the Conference League?
No, you have to give him credit for winning.
No, I will. I'll say thanks, Moyes. I will say thanks, Moyes. But can't we just say, you know, West Ham won the Conference League in spite of their manager being David Moyes?
No, we can't say that because that's not fair.
I'm joking. I'm just mocking. That's all. I know. I know.
Like these people are West Ham, but it's not just the manager; it's the players as well. They all get praised, don't they? And they all get put in in history.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. But I mean, to say, look, he's done well for us. He's been good, but I think I'm not being rude, mate, but I think to call him a great, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, but does this go back to earlier on? And again, sorry, Kane. This goes back to because Nigel sort of opened me ears and my eyes earlier on when we was talking to Alfie, and he mentioned because he's 19. You know, you're not much older. You're a young guy as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're a young guy as well. And
how old is he?
25.
25. Oh yeah, no, yeah. So but I think it could be general. As he said, because in your lifetime, is David Moyes? Is he your favourite manager? Is he giving you your best memories in your?
He is. Yeah.
So he is your John Lyall. Yeah.
Kind of. I don't think I'd see him as a John Lyall. But then again, I wasn't around then, so I don't know what football was purely like. But to be honest with you, I see a lot of youngsters hate Moyes. Generally hate Moyes as well. So I don't know. I think it's just a small portion in general. Because my dad's like 45 and loves Moyes.
I think it's difficult, right? It's difficult because, you know, Ron Greenwood, you go back to it, he bought a whole different brand of football and won our first ever trophies with the club, and also lined up John Lyall, who came and stayed for bloody years. When did John Lyall join? When did he take over as manager? Was 73, 74 or something, Nigel?
74, 75.
74,
Oh,
75.
get your contract out. When did he sign?
And he won 2 FA Cups and he you know, got to the final of nearly won the league and everything else, you know. But then it's totally different times. I mean, he served us from that time, 74, 75 up until 89. You know, David Moyes has been here 10 minutes literally in comparison, right? And if he wins a trophy, that will be a great achievement. But he hasn't done it for nothing. I mean, when Nigel was sharing some, you know, Nigel, it's up to you if you want to share this or not, but we were looking at the
something earlier.
But let me just say we were looking at you know,
something. Just say something.
How much John Lyall earned back then, right? Compared to David Moyes. I'm going to find a way of doing this without giving the game away, right?
For fuck's sake.
David Moyes earns $5 million a year, right?
Yeah.
John Lyall, by comparison, earned a relatively normal salary by today's standards. Let me say that.
Yeah, it was like a normal job back then, wasn't it? Yeah, it was like a normal job.
Well,
and he stayed for all those years. So to me, you can't compare the two, right? You can't compare the two.
No.
If he stayed another so many years and won a load of stuff, or at least won an FA Cup and started playing a great brand of football, because that's the other thing that John Lyall bought with us as well, was the beautiful brand of football. And I know there was some bad seasons, some struggles where we got relegated, but I don't think the brand of football ever really suffered. I think he suffered through lack of transfer budget quite a lot in the late 80s.
My point on the brand of football is the team Moyes inherited. Can we even play possession-based, high-pressing football with them? No. And I still don't think we can now, even though we brought a load of players in. I still don't think we can now. You get another manager in, it'd be better, might be more exciting, might be more high-pressing and stuff like that. But I still don't think you can still play that, to be honest with you.
But then explain Brighton. Explain Fulham.
Oh, they got all the foundation. Brighton have got the foundations in place. And this comes back to our ownership and how we're run and stuff like that. Yeah. Brighton have got the foundations in place, and they went through years of it. Do you remember, like a couple of seasons ago, when they were going 16 games without a win and stuff like that, and they were on Potter's head? They had to go through years of getting the players in. We don't do that at all.
No,
we're old school run, man.
No,
and I don't put that on Moyes.
We don't. But listen. You can play exciting brands of football. You can. I'm not being funny. We saw, and it was probably more counter-attacking, I will say, but it was counter-attacking in the right way. The way that we played under the way that we played under Bilic for 15-16 that year. That was exciting. That was beautiful
Yeah,
football.
yeah,
And yes, you
But
a
he
lot of
couldn't
that.
follow it up, Nick, could he?
He couldn't follow it up, but I think a lot of things that we don't
No.
talk about, Nigel. Do you not think that there was probably a bit of a hangover with the stadium like there was for us?
Yeah, definitely.
There was.
I know, and I'll tell you
Stadium,
what, actually,
IFC.
I'll throw that into the mix as well.
Yeah,
We brought in 7 or 8 new players when we moved.
didn't help.
Yeah.
They were shit.
And
Like
there
what
was shit.
we've
as well.
just done.
They brought in Zaza and stuff. It was fucking comical.
Yeah, but that was back in the day when Nigel, who made those signings?
Well, look, some would have been Bilic and some wouldn't have been.
I know, but that was back when Sullivan used to like playing Football Manager, wasn't it?
Yeah. Who's to
You know.
say he hasn't this season?
So that's
Yeah.
what you got to think with
never
Moyes.
know.
He's had to take that over and pretty much do 3 jobs. Like he's had to change the scouting. He's had to change, and he shouldn't do this. No manager in this day and time should be doing all that. You have to have it all done for you.
Hang on, Kane.
But he's had to-
Kane, 1 minute. Lawrence from the US, please call in once Kane's finished, mate. Because I can't pick up because I'm on a call. I'm just on an iPhone. So call in once this call's over. All right. Cheers, mate. Go on, Kane. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, I was going to say, when he come in, he had to shake up the scouting. Yeah, the recruitment and things like that, he's had to take on himself. I think he likes doing that because he used to do that at Everton. He tried doing that at United as well. It didn't work. But I think a lot of this, I think the owners sort of get away with it, and the players as well. They get away with this. This is on everyone.
They don't get away with that on this channel, mate. We absolutely pin everything on David Sullivan.
Ultimately, it goes up to the top.
Ultimately,
Yeah.
it goes to
Ultimately,
David Sullivan. Right? We know that. We know what the main reason is, what the main cause is. We understand that we've just basically been making it up as we go along. We do get that. But the fact of the matter is,
old school, yeah.
yes. But the fact of the matter is, and as I was saying to Alfie earlier on, probably where the likes of yourself take exception to what I say about David Moyes, which probably is largely unfair when I dismiss what he's done for those 2 seasons, is because I'm sick and tired of it being used to justify the shit that we've been watching for the past 14 months. Because, mate, it is done now. He does need to go, and then we can all appreciate the period that we have. We can't build with David Moyes because he isn't the right style of manager, and he never will be. And in fact, the only way we could rebuild is if you went back to getting grateful footballers in from the Championship. They're happy for an opportunity. Fresh players. He will never be able to get through to top players like we're seeing now. We're seeing discontent in the camp because they're not being inspired by him. And yes, look, we can all turn around and say, yeah, look, entitled players, this, that, the other. Well, that's the game that he's in. He's a football manager. He's paid to get players into that squad, to set up a team to best suit them, to utilise his squad properly, to manage a game, to manage it properly. And he doesn't do that.
Yeah.
He hasn't done it for ages. He's fallen to pieces this year. He's been found out.
Nick, it ultimately it is how the club is run, because if you look at the
I know.
transition,
I know.
Because so it doesn't really matter.
Well, no, but because of the way the club is run, we have to change manager regularly because they fall to pieces. And
Yeah,
this
but
is
if
the
your
time
club-
where we
yeah,
need
but
to
if-
change manager.
Yeah, but it will just be the same scenario again.
So do we just stick with Moyes and get relegated?
No, of course
We
not.
still-
That's what I'm saying to
Going
you.
around in circles.
We wait until
Go on.
the owners, don't we? That's what we do.
Well,
we wait until the owners.
you keep Moyes until Sullivan sells.
Do you know why I'd keep Moyes? Firstly, because of the squad we have. Secondly, it'd be Rafa, right? And I don't think I know everyone seems to hate Moyes. I don't think there's any improvement, and I think he can grind us up, keep us up, and maybe have a bite of that Conference League.
How are you going to feel if we don't win the Conference League and if we do get relegated? How are you going to feel at that point?
Guys,
Yeah, but that's the thing. I know, obviously, you fully back the man and you believe that he's going to keep us up. And none of us know. I might not be right.
Yeah.
You might not be right. We don't know. It's a gamble at this stage of the season.
yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
going based on trends, Moyes needs to improve massively on what we've been seeing in terms of results as well in the league, because we ain't doing good enough. We're just not. For the past 14 months, if we carry on, there has to be a drastic change. Not win 4-0 away to Forest and then fucking fall off a cliff again. We keep turning corners and coming back. Every time we win a game, people say, oh, we're done. And then he reverts. And because what he does is he's so pragmatic. I've said it before. He'll have a relegation escape plan on his wall. He will go for him and he'll go, right, that's winnable. That's not Brighton. We never beat them. We saw that with the way he approached Brighton. He dismissed that game before we even fucking got out on the pitch. He dismissed it.
What Claire said there is
I
true.
agree, because
What Claire said there is true, right? And that's how many other clubs in the Premier League would still be retaining David Moyes. And I think the answer is none.
None.
Well, Leicester are keeping
That's not
Rodgers,
a
aren't
bad
they?
thing, though, is it? To be the club that don't sack his manager.
Well, Nottingham Forest are the other one, and
Yeah, but they're not going to sack him. He just came up and bought 30 players, and actually, he's from his starting point.
Imagine if they're the three that go down: West Ham, Leicester, and Forest.
Well, look, imagine if Forest stay up above us by 1 point.
Yeah.
Who do we blame in that Forest game away?
What's that?
Oh, right. Did you blame Moyes for the penalty?
I'm going to blame us getting relegated on the referee. I
Forest
ain't
stay
going
up
to do
by
that.
1 point and we go down, the team behind them. We had a chance in August, to beat Forest away.
Yeah. You're going to blame Declan Rice. You're going to blame Declan Rice.
John's very sensitive about the players, by the way. You can't say
there's plenty of other games to get that other point. Why are
It
you
depends. What players?
Well, no, all I'm saying is
Nigel's saying that if Nottingham Forest stay up above us by 1 point,
I'm asking a question.
It's Declan Rice's fault.
I'm asking
Nigel,
a question. I have not named one player, John. You
Nigel, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Nigel seems to have a phobia about West Ham midfield captains. Noble, now it's Rice.
I don't have a problem with Declan at all.
He like Billy Bonds.
You're trying to pin it on him. You will blame him.
I didn't say I'll blame him. I asked who will we blame?
Well, tell me your answer.
Forest game.
Tell me your answer.
Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look back at the game.
Well, if you're going to blame anyone from that game, it'd be the VAR, wouldn't it? Because they disallowed that goal.
Go on, Kane.
Yeah.
Was it not Antonio when he ran into that defender randomly?
Antonio.
Was it not Antonio? Because he ran into that defender, didn't he? He got the goal called off. I remember when that happened. I looked at my dad.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with that, was there? Nothing wrong with it.
There was nothing wrong with that.
To be fair, from that game, I know who I blame, and I blame the woodwork.
It was the woodwork's fault, yeah.
But there are games like that this season, right? Sorry. I said there are games like this season where the players have just not put the ball in the back of the net. Whether or not you think we play well or not.
There are.
They generally, and they've made the most stupid errors at the back I've ever seen. Like that Villa game, Aguero just having his eyes closed and bent down. There's a guy on Watkins have a goal. I can't even look at Moyes at that and say, you're a defender, you got to do your job. And I do think there's quite a few games, not all of them. There's Brighton away, which is just fucking shit.
Yeah.
But there are some where, because I know everyone gets pissed off at this, but the XG table and stuff like that, and it's not the be all and end all, but we are like 9th on it, which I find mental. I find it absolutely mental that we're
I know, but XG, it's like it takes into account chances created. Now there are chances and there are chances. You know, as far as I'm concerned, you know, a shot on target from 30 yards is a chance.
Yeah.
You know, it's
even if it rolls at 3 miles an hour.
Even if it rolls at 3 miles an hour, it goes on XG. It was a chance.
It's a chance, was it?
It was a chance, yeah.
Stats are shit.
So, yeah, they are. So I know. Look, I know a lot of people live and die by it. But look, Kane. I do get it. I do understand why people do love Moyes. I get it. I don't get why you still want to stick with him now, because, like I say, all he's doing for me is running the risk of absolutely blowing that legacy that he might have that you sort of cling on to completely out the water. Because if he gets us relegated, mate, that's all going to have been for nothing.
But Nick, quickly on
but
the
it's
Forest
just who we get in.
Yeah, but at this stage, Kane, who could do worse than Moyes at this stage with that group of players that we've got?
A lot of people could do worse.
Could do worse. If you look at our season this year, there are managers that could have done worse with that group of players.
Nick,
you believe that?
Look at this scenario. Then you love a scenario.
You said right now.
Yeah.
Nick, you love a scenario.
Shut up, Kane. Fuck's sake.
Yeah. You love a scenario. How about this for a scenario? Yeah. We beat Nottingham Forest. Yeah. So give us 3 points. Take 3 points off Forest. Yeah. Away, because we smashed them off the park.
Yeah.
Thing.
Nick disagrees.
We're sitting 12th. They're sitting second from bottom. We're now in the quarterfinals of the Europa Conference League.
Yeah.
Yeah. and we're sitting 12th. How are you feeling?
Pablo Fornals' goal don't get deflected and over the keeper against Aston Villa.
No, you love a scenario. What if?
But you're saying if everything that went, but you're saying if everything that went wrong for us went right. Everyone, that's football. Everyone misses chances. Everyone scores goals.
What if this? What if that? You're the scenario king, Nick. You sit here every week going, "What if?" You want a scenario where we all go, "Yeah, Nick."
Scenario. That's quite a nice thing to call.
You're the scenario king. Yet when I throw you one, it's like, "Oh, hold up a minute."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's how much this season changes.
He's done you there, Nick.
We win that game. Forest the second from bottom, and we are 12th.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. If my aunt had bollocks. But anyway, go on, Kane. One last point, mate, from you. Go on before we wrap this one up, and we can speak to Lawrence. What would you like to close on?
Yeah, leave Moyes alone. All right, I see you on there constantly going for him.
I refuse.
Leave him alone.
I refuse.
Limit yourself to limit yourself to 2 bad tweets about Moyes a day.
Just 2,
and then
Yeah, try and do
that. Or you can do 3 bad tweets. You can do 3 bad tweets and 1 good tweet.
Yeah.
I'll do one good tweet about Moyes. What about?
He's got a lovely smile, hasn't he?
No, he fucking hasn't.
He's got a good head of hair.
He's one of them. Kane's one of them that posts that fucking face, isn't you? That face picture.
I don't actually. I find that face annoying. I post a different one sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Most of the time, I see that face. It does my head into it.
But no, look, listen. I've not been well this weekend, and I've been far more active on Twitter than I am usually. So most of my tweets today have been while I've been training for a shit. Training for a shit.
Have you got the shit because you're shitting yourself that Moyes is going to do it? He's going to do it. He's going to win the trophy. He's going to stay for 10 years. Is that what you're shitting yourself about?
Basically, what will happen? What will happen? There'll be. I'll disappear as Nick and I'll come back as Mick. So that's what will happen from this channel.
Yeah.
No, look, listen. Kane. I love West Ham with all my heart. I really do. Now, I want to be fucking wrong. I want people to be. I want us to win that Conference League, and I want us to stay up. That's what I want. My fear is that I have no belief now in this manager. That's all it is. That's all it is.
If he does that,
I hope we were going down. If I thought we were going down, and if I thought that they'd fallen out with Moyes and the players have fallen out with Moyes, I'd want him gone as well. I just don't get that impression.
Mate, they have fallen out with him. They have fallen out with him. If you listen to X's podcast,
do you think they've fallen out with him? Well, there's discontent. There's a few issues. Do you not? They're not like fully fallen out, have they? Like X has not come out and said they've lost it with him, have they? There's a few issues here and there. The fans make up these narratives, right? The whole Ben Rama narrative creased me when it's like, Ben Rama and Moyes hate each other. Load of nonsense. I think this is over hyper.
I'd say there's a bit of truth in that.
Hyperbole.
In what I see.
Yeah, it's been more than X giving that.
What about Jake? What about Jacob Steinberg? You know, a proper journalist who reported on that.
What has he said?
You didn't read that in the Guardian. Well, I suggest you go and read it. But he said the same thing. That was a few weeks ago.
When was it?
It was a few weeks ago. Look it up. Was it?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Nick reads the Guardian. If I'm honest.
Yes. Yeah. I know. It's anything negative for Moyes automatically comes up on my feed. Yeah. So I've got an algorithm. On running. But no, yeah. Basically, if you look that up, Jacob Steinberg, who has got connections in with Sullivan, with Brady, with people, and he talks to people in the club as well. He's a bona fide journalist, as we all know. He's come out and he said the same thing.
Going to complain about it.
He said the same thing long before X and everyone else. And that was a few weeks ago.
He's not a bona fide.
That they're sick of the negativity. They're fed up with the tactics. They're sick of the negativity. There's discontent.
Right. Yeah, discontent. There's no hatred.
What do you want someone to do? Headbutt him?
You would.
I want them to pretty much lose all confidence of him. That's for me to be convinced. And I see it on the pitch, right? The only game I could say where I thought, they're not playing for him was probably the Brighton one.
Yeah, but
the other games, there
is this. There is this to be said as well. Okay, look, I'm not being funny. Professional footballers, they all want to go out now. Even if you've lost it with a manager, You would have to be some scumbag to not go out on the pitch and try and play and win in front of all your fans. Just because you're putting the effort in on the pitch doesn't mean you're buying into that manager. It means that you're playing for the club that pays your wages, for the badge that you're wearing, for all the fans that have come out to watch you. So it doesn't mean that they're playing and buying into what David Moyes says, that David Moyes is delivering. I don't believe they are. Mate,
You don't believe they are what?
I don't believe. I think that ship has sailed.
I think there might be a few, but
I think that ship has sailed.
It's hard to really tell.
I know. Look, listen. I might be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a. Yeah.
And none of these have got enough brains anyway to work out tactics. Sorry, Karen.
Can we phone the geezer from KFC because he's been waiting on the line, hasn't
KFC.
he? He's just finished his shift. Then we've got to phone Lawrence, isn't he? What's he doing?
He don't work at KFC.
You said he's in Kentucky.
Oh, is that Lawrence from Kentucky? I thought it was Alabama. Well, anyway, Kane, make sure you phone in again, mate. That was a really good call.
Yeah, very able, Kane.
No
very
problem.
able.
Yeah.
Very able.
Yeah, it'd be good. Listen, we've got a couple of guys on here that we've got Jonathan, Russell Brand, who phones in. You know, he was a Moyes supporter for sort of all the way through, and he phones in sort of temporarily throughout different phases. He's quite good. He'll phone in. He hasn't really. Has he changed his mind completely?
No,
Jonathan. I don't think he has. I don't think he has.
No.
But yeah, just make sure you call in, mate. That was a good call.
You sound like the geezer at the end of school who's just gone, I got away with it apart from those pesky kids.
Right, he's on the phone now. Kane, we're going to let you go because I'm not phoning him back. He's in America. All right.
Cheers,
mate.
We've got some posh callers tonight, haven't we?
He was good, wasn't he, Kane?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Apart from those pesky kids.
Is that Lawrence?
He's on the phone now, Kate. We're going to let you go.
Lawrence needs to turn his telly down.
Hello, Lawrence. Could you turn the volume down, please, young man? That's all right, mate.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Lawrence. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I'll have a zinger tower meal, 2-piece chicken meal with
It's
a
not
Pepsi.
Kentucky Fried Chicken, but it's
Yay!
it's bourbon here. But hey, I can tell you right now, I've been listening to all you. I'm gonna jab both there. Definitely, I think Moyes is out. That is a ridiculous statement. Period. I've given him chances, and I think we all have chances after time, and he has not produced.
Nope.
His strategy, the last match, we know, Kelly going off, they do not have confidence in this man anymore. So for us to think that we can stick around with Moyes is ridiculous. I mean, I think, and in my opinion is I can't see us, I don't gauge our success off the European League. I really can't. Because it's inferior competition. And to me, personally, the most important thing to me is staying in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And for the last 2 weeks, all 5 of us that are in this conversation and on the thing is that we're cheering for other teams to lose. And that's great, but we can't do that. We need to take the ownership on ourselves and get some wins.
Yeah.
My prediction, I think the next match, the next 2 matches is Southampton and Newcastle. I'm hoping for 4 points. I'm thinking the victory at Hampton and the tie with Newcastle.
I think. Do you know something? It's possible. I mean, we should beat Southampton at home.
Yes,
we should beat Southampton and Newcastle. Although they're kind of dipping in and out of form,
they're not playing brilliant.
They're not unbeatable, are they? So look, it is possible, and this is what I'm saying to you. This little run of games that we've got coming up, it will define whether or not we do stay up. You know, particularly Southampton. But if we don't get anything out of Southampton and Newcastle, I think it's about time to wrap up, isn't it?
Yeah.
At that point,
and that's. But I'm asking you guys, the struggle that I have right now is that we have the players. Is the formations wrong? I'm telling you, 2 up front should be the way to go.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing is, as Gary said earlier on, you know, if you do play a 4-4-2, you know, a formation which you know we all love, but I think we'll all also agree that for that to be successful, it's all pivots on your central midfield combination. If you've got a really good central midfield combination, then you can play 2 in the middle. Because quite often in the Premier League, you're going against 3 in the middle. But then again, if you look at it a different way, if you're playing on the front foot, so say for instance you're outnumbered in the middle, Nige. when you play a 4-4-2, if you've got attacking players out wide, you can outnumber them in wide areas. So you can counteract it if you want to. So just because people are sort of, they might be playing the game through the middle, filling the middle of the pitch out, quite often the right way to combat that is to go around the outside of them.
Yeah, well, the problem with 4-3-3 is that's what they're doing to us.
Yeah.
We're playing 4-3-3. They go around the outside of us.
And it's narrow. It's a narrow three in the middle, isn't
it? Yeah.
I think the most basic thing about having two up front is giving them something to think about defensively, so they can't be as forward thinking.
Exactly.
And if you look at Arsenal do this thing with Zinchenko, and City do this thing with, let's say, Rico Lewis. When they're on the attack, either of them players, they step into midfield. Have you seen that? They sort of
Yeah.
But if you've got two up front, they might be less inclined to do that sort of thing, and you're not enabling them to be as fluid and to be as. Do you know what I mean? It's just basics. Two up front, it just keeps the defense more occupied, and that's how I see it. But I don't know.
Hey, John, my question is this: we're so deep in the relegation game. Is that don't we think that we need to be more aggressive now? I mean, we have no more. We would sit back and we play defensive, and then we'd wait to attack. We've started the last couple of matches, I think 5, that we've pressed up more so than we've ever done in a while under Moyes. But I think when you have nothing to lose right now, we need to attack now. We have nothing to lose. We have 6 teams that we can catch. If you really look, Crystal Palace is falling apart. Perfect for us. But we need points. And I have different chats of different West Ham fans and stuff like that. And I love to cheer against teams so we can win. But you know what? All respect, we need to freaking win some matches. We need to win.
What we need to do is for the rest of this season, for the remaining 12 games, if we just focus on our own games, shouldn't even fucking matter what happens in the other games. So if we go out and you beat Southampton, then it doesn't matter because these players are going to drop points. These teams are going to drop points. They are. But this is what frustrates me about the way we approach the Brighton game, Nigel. That's what frustrated me about that. Because if David Moyes did see that as a dead rubber and he weren't really that bothered about it, why wouldn't he just go for it?
Nick, I don't think he saw it as a dead rubber. I think he was. Moyes will go out, and where I will agree is he goes out to not lose first and foremost, and then he then tries to see that. I mean, Lawrence. The thing about it is, it's all right going gung-ho, what have we got to lose? Well, if you get beat 3 or 4-0 going gung-ho, then you have got a lot to lose. Goal difference is going to be a big. Goal difference is going to be a big player in this season.
Nigel, with all due respect to you, where are we freaking at now?
Oh,
we ain't in the top 10, buddy. So we need to do something.
No, but what's happening is what money in the water is the amount of teams and the closivity. As I've just said, just one game this season.
He just made a word.
You could split.
Just made a word up.
What?
The closivity.
Oh no, our closeness. Yeah, the closimity of it.
Go on. Closimity.
Fucking hell, he's a young. He can't speak English anyway. Fucking hell. They don't even know what the letter U is. Anyway, so basically, it's that tight. You have to try and accumulate as many points as possible. As I've already said, draw every game, we stay up. And that's not. I'm not advocating that, but that is.
So that being said, look, listen, I'm with you at this stage, and I will say this: I think the time for throwing a kitchen sink isn't now. That comes later. That's when it's like last chance. But I do think we need to see more of a balanced approach. We've got to start taking the game to the opposition a lot more. To be fair, look against Aston Villa, it was balanced. We did do a little bit more there. But if you was against Southampton, Nigel, what would you like the approach to be against Southampton? Would you like to see? No, but that's fine. But how do you win the game?
Score goals.
Goals are fun, Nick.
I know, but you know what I'm saying. Play the game.
Yeah, but listen. Yeah, but I've known that me. I'd always revert to 4-4-2. especially at the moment, because actually that gives you 2 out wide.
Yeah.
So you get protection in front of everybody. The 2 in the middle can protect the 2 behind. The 2 out wide can protect the 2 behind.
Yeah.
The 2 up front occupies the more defenders. And with the right support, it then becomes a 3 or 4 man attack instead of a 2-man attack that we got.
The funny thing now is that Moyes has backed himself into a corner because every point now, because of where we are, is more important than it would have been at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So in a funny way, he's probably less inclined to even try and attack because he's put himself in a predicament.
Yeah, he's paralysed by fear.
I'm not saying it's right.
But John, you noticed that Moyes in the last couple of weeks has actually been more aggressive than he's been in the past. So he did adjust. It's definitely not what we want, but it's definitely he can tell because we see our press up front is more than we've had prior to the last 6 games prior.
Maybe.
Yeah. I think you can tell the difference. David Moyes, out of possession, sets up in one of 2 ways. He either does traffic cones, or he'll do 3 ways. He either does traffic cones, he does a full press, which is what you need to do if you're going to press. You've got to press as a team, or he does the Brighton half press, where which is but what that is when he plays that way, it kills me. Which is basically for me that's submission. If you're setting up and it's just shape, you're never going to retain the ball because to retain the ball you've got to pass and you've got to move. If you're holding your shape, that doesn't happen by nature because you can't really vacate your area or your zone of the pitch. So to pass and move, you've got to pass the ball, carry on your run, overlapping runs all over the place, loads of options. That is not what David Moyes would ever want because I think he gets stressed out by the vulnerabilities that causes. You don't think, John?
Yeah.
Maybe. But if he was stressed out before, he's definitely stressed out now. That's what I'm trying to say. The predicament we're in. I know what Lawrence is saying. We do look maybe a little bit more aggressive, but we're never going to see 2 up front.
Is that something as well? Is that something that we've also maybe? And this is one thing I will say. Have we got to look to the players for that as well, for the fight and the aggression?
100%.
Like we saw,
for sure, 100%.
Like we saw with Paqueta. But then he got a yellow card and he got hooked. But it's because he was good against Aston Villa. I think Paqueta probably was the best player on the pitch, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Russ in central midfield, and it wasn't really so much about his. It was more his industry. I thought you're shaking your head, Nigel. Who did you think was the best player?
I don't think Paqueta was the best player.
He was good. Paqueta was good. Yeah.
The last pitch, I know Rice has one of his worst games he had of the year.
Yeah, he's had a few. He's
not allowed to blame him, though.
He has had a few. He has had a few this season.
And back to John is I love Rice, and I want to open this up to you guys. Is that I love Rice, but I think he's been put in a precarious situation where can he be a captain of a team at such a young mate? He's got so much talent, but you're putting a lot of pressure on a young man to lead a team.
Listen,
I love Rice, but he was put in the. No, let me finish, please. But the thing was, he was such a tight thing with Noble. Noble was our man, and Noble's been around a long time. But guess what? We had no one else. You're right. We are that. So who else would we do? We're looking for a one person part of our team that can lead us into a captainship, and it was hard to put into. It's a lot of pressure on a young man.
He got it by default. He got it by default because he was the second in command last year, wasn't he? And so Noble left, and he took over as captain. I think you're right. Probably.
But is that fair for you? I know when I was 21, 23 to be a leader of a team or of anything. As a manager, that's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure. I think that comes down to the person. If you're not ready to be a captain at 24, you're never going to be, in my opinion. Not in football.
Listen.
I disagree with that because it goes with experience. Experience gives you knowledge, and the knowledge gives you the leadership. You can't. You don't have that when you're that young.
No.
And that's why I disagree.
Well, that
No,
he's been
I
playing for five,
because-
6 seasons.
Yeah. He's been playing a long time. He's got a lot of games under his belt.
200 games for us now.
He's got a lot of games under his belt. But what I will say is, and this is where I think it probably.
Okay, I love you, but I disagree.
But where I think it is probably a little bit unfair what's happened to him is he's been made the official captain, even though he was, he's had all those games, he's been bedded in by Noble. But then we had this transition season where fucking Noble's gone. All of these new characters have come in. All of a sudden, he's got to manage that. That's a big job. He hasn't come in to be he ain't come in to be a captain in a settled environment, has he?
Yep.
It's an unsettled environment.
It's very difficult. And I like Dominican Squid.
That's brilliant.
Argod, I think he'd be the next guy coming in there to be a good one.
Yeah.
It's very.
Bobby Moore was captain at 21.
It's different pressure, Nigel.
Our youngest captain, I believe, was Rio Coca.
Nigel Rio
It's a
Coca.
different pressure, Nigel. Bobby Moore didn't have social media accounts. Bobby Moore didn't have to do interview after interview to every media outlet.
No, but then Rice shouldn't watch social media, should he?
It's the modern world. It's the modern world,
guys. I know what it goes. I'm going to tell you a quick story. That's it. And then I'll let this. I was in the U.S. Navy for 26 years. Yeah, it's hilarious. I want to give I did for 26 years, and I'm proud to do that. But I can tell you one thing. When I was 22 years old, I could not say I could lead a group of teams. I was learning, but through my experience,
I've always been a leader of men, me. I've always been a leader of men.
I totally agree with you. I agree with what you just said.
I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to talk bullshit. I'm just trying to be real. That I like Declan, and I'm not disparaging him. But for him to do a job like that, it's a very hard job to do. And for what we had, and the people that we had, he probably was the best choice. But we put him in the precarious situation.
Yeah.
I managed different teams, different size teams. I managed some massive teams. For about 20 years, I managed teams. And the first one I managed was when I was about 23. And I got to say, I was rubbish when I first started doing it.
Yeah.
I got so much better as time went on,
Yeah.
So I think some people do grow into it. I did.
I'll tell you, it's all about experience. How many games has Declan Rice played for West Ham?
Yeah.
180. 160.
It's played loads.
It's got to be 200. It's got to be up there.
It's over. It's about 210, 11.
Right.
With his subs. The boy's got the experience to lead because he came into the team. Because he came in at 17 and has been in the team, he's built up the experience. So he is. I think perhaps the inexperience comes from dealing with the media bit and what he says publicly. I think on the pitch, I think he is a leader.
Yeah, I do. I agree.
Good point, Nigel.
No,
Just
that's
keep
right.
that on loop. Normally people do say that.
Not many.
Right. Anyway, Lawrence, it was lovely to talk to you, mate. We're going to let you go because it is getting very late over here. It is 10 to 11.
Cheers,
What
Lawrence.
time?
All right, thank you for the opportunity, my friend.
So hold up, Lawrence, before you go.
We've got one
still
more
there? Is he still there?
Unknown.
Hang on.
I just wanted to know how old he was.
Hang on.
Well, he was in the Navy 26 years, so he's at least got to be 27.
All right.
Hello there. We've got another call. You got in quickly. Who am I talking to, mate? Where are you from?
Aaron, Pompey fan. I found up the other week.
Oh yeah.
Why not here then?
Right.
Whoa.
Basically, I've got a couple of questions. Because obviously I like West Ham. I said that the other week when I found out. I was doing my Premier League team.
Yeah.
So yeah. Now, quick question: how much money do you get if you win the trophy?
Well, the Conference League, don't know.
Yeah. What's the prize?
I know. I think overall, it's about 16 to 20 million overall.
Is it?
Or for winning the whole tournament.
Because you get money for winning the games and everything, and ticketing and everything else.
Yeah.
So, how much do you get if you stay in the Premier League?
Oh look, yeah. No, look.
Another season of being miserable.
My prediction is now. I'm hoping it doesn't happen like this, but my prediction is that Moyes is looking at winning the trophy. They're going to get you relegated. in my opinion. That's unfortunately, and I don't want that to happen. I hope that you don't get relegated. But
Aaron,
in
when
my
did we
mind,
when did we all become? Aaron, when did we all become accountants? We watched football to win trophies, didn't we? Who cares how much it costs the club and whatever else?
Aaron,
no, I know,
relegation
but I can see what owners, if they're anything like certain other managed owners, all they care about is the green or the pound note or whatever. They're not worried about what the fan thinks and feels. They're more worried about how much we're going to make from this.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's...
Aaron, I'll tell you what I'll do. We'll take away your FA Cup win, but we'll put you back in the Premier League, but you'll just bob about mid-table to the bottom of the table.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Kanu don't score that goal. Harry don't hold the trophy up and get the freedom of the city.
It's a good question.
Going to Southampton. Yeah, but you get to stay in the Premier League, still owned by Sasha Gaidamak, and you're just bobbing about doing nothing. What do you enjoy Wembley for what it was?
Yeah, I mean, see, I enjoyed Wembley for what it was, but I mean, I personally, I'm now 36, so I personally wouldn't want to be back in the Premier League. I'm not like most fans. I'm weird, but I wouldn't want to go in the Premier League personally because I would rather stay in Championship, the most highest one, stick Championship, League One, League Two, and not go any higher. For me personally, because and it's the only reason why. Because of me, if you're a lower league team, so Championship, League One, League Two, and you're a fan and you're a child with you, for instance, your child or your nephew or whatever, and a player comes over and they're in them leagues, they will sign a shirt, they have a conversation with you for 10 seconds. If you're in the higher league, in the Premier League, it don't matter what club you support, they will not give you the time of the day because all they care about is how much money are they making.
Yeah.
And
you do still see you see a lot of examples of Premier League players that are not like that do give a lot of their time. I think the issue that you've got is, for instance, at West Ham, 60,000 fans. What chance have you got of getting Lucas Paqueta's shirt or Mark? What chance have you got of getting their shirts? So I think that's the difference. I think when you've got lower attendances and there's less pressure and stuff like that. I don't know.
That's what I thought I'd ask. And the other question was, because again, obviously I've got no skin in the game. Obviously you lot have. Declan Rice, obviously, apparently, he's given his word to Arsenal, and now rumours are that he's given his word to Chelsea. Out of them two clubs, if obviously he's going to go to one, if he was to go to one or the other, for you lot, which would be the worst?
Chelsea.
Do you care? I don't care. I really don't care.
No, but obviously I've got no skin in the game, so I'm
I don't care. I don't care. And he can. He can't fucking promise to go anywhere because at the end of the day he's still our player. So he can. His agent, who's his dad, can spread.
Nick.
But his agent, his agent and his dad can spread these stories to try and fucking paddle this crap out as much as he wants. Ultimately, we're going to have a say in where he goes because it's going to come down to money.
Yeah.
It will come down to money, Nigel.
Come down to money.
It will come down to money. I've taken a bit of a dislike for Arsenal this year. I just have because of their silly supporters and their ultras and all that sort of stuff. And how they're massively supporting their team.
They're
and
ultras.
they've been fucking quiet for 10 years. Fuck 'em. And they've been talking about Declan Rice as if he's their player already. They've already had their friendly agents out in the media setting the buying price. Fuck off. So I'd rather see him go to Chelsea. There, answer your question.
I hate Arsenal because of family reasons, but for Declan Rice, personally, I think it would be better for him to go to Arsenal.
Do you honestly give a fuck about him after that? You want him to go on and flourish at Arsenal, do you?
No, I want to see him fail miserably.
So what do you want to do?
You hate Arsenal. It's like, but that's like me saying. But that's like me saying I'd like him to go to Spurs because he could win the title with them.
No. Listen, what I just said.
To be fair, he won't go to Spurs. He's got more chance to win the trophy than you lot than he has with Tottenham.
Go on, talk. What are you going to say?
No, I'm not going to say it now, you mug.
He's going to finish his Declan Rice. He's going to finish his
win
career.
Nothing at Tottenham. I mean, Harry Kane's been there for how long? And Harry Kane's not one fuck. Oh, sorry, but not one nothing.
Exactly.
Come on,
if Declan leaves, he's got to go to a club where he wins something. If Declan leaves,
exactly. Well, that ain't Tottenham. That definitely is not Tottenham.
It ain't Chelsea.
I mean, please now, Pompey's won more in the last 20 years than Tottenham have.
Yeah, they have. Right, come on, John. Stop being a big baby. Tell us what you was going to say.
I was just going to say before you showed off,
Diva,
that I personally would rather he went Chelsea because I hate Arsenal. But like Nigel just said, because you let Nigel speak because you respect him and all that. But for his career, he would have more opportunity of winning something at Arsenal, even though I hate Arsenal. So there, I finished now. Right?
Hold up. No, he's not left yet.
Would he?
Does this go back to what? Does this go back?
Win more.
But John, does this not go back to what Mr. Mace said in the comments a few weeks ago about hero worship of players?
What if you fucking respect someone? It's hero worshipping, is it? Why does that mean I don't have posters up of any player on my wall? I know I don't look it, but I'm 43 years of age. I don't have posters up of anybody. But if
What's wrong with having posters up of players, John?
He don't have a poster. He's got a noble duvet, hasn't he? A noble duvet cover.
Yes. He's got his.
We worked out earlier that Nigel's got a shed full of memorabilia, right? I've got 4 items of memorabilia, and one of them I paid more than Nigel paid for his most expensive 15,000 items. So
that was only one half of it.
Yeah, I know, but no. So,
but yeah, if you lot can do me a favour, when do you lot play Scum? When do you lot play? When's your game against Scum?
We play Arsenal. So what we've got?
Oh no, Southampton. When do you lot play Southampton?
2nd of April.
Next.
Yeah, 1st or 2nd of April.
2nd of April. Yeah.
Yeah.
What Southampton's is?
Second. Yeah.
Is that right? It's a Sunday, isn't it? Was that Saturday?
Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. So yeah, please smash them.
Oh, I hope we do.
For all the Poppy fans out there, we don't care at the moment about Portsmouth getting relegated or whatever. I'd make our Christmas if they get relegated.
Yeah.
That would make our Christmas if Scum got relegated. Wait for that little red R to come up. Perfect. Yeah, I reckon
quickly.
Then Bournemouth and Leeds will get relegated.
Why do Portsmouth and Southampton hate each other that much?
Why? It's to do with the dockyards.
Shipping.
It's to do originally with the dockyards. Portsmouth and Southampton both went on strike back in the middle 60s, late 60s. And both Portsmouth and Southampton both went on strike. So said, we're breaking the strikes, we're going back to work. So Portsmouth turned around and said, "You're scum for going back to work." That's where scums come from.
Yeah.
Portsmouth, obviously, is a navy base and a fishing port and everything else. They called Southampton, scum called us skates. Because obviously, allegedly, a Portsmouth person was caught entertaining a fish.
Entertaining a fish?
That word. Entertaining a fish.
Juggling or something.
Really?
What was he doing? Juggling?
Really?
So, hence why we're called skates.
How does that work then? How does that work?
Does it work? Is it? Yeah.
I don't know, but that's what apparently.
One up the attic.
So I was trying to word it politically correct. So that's where we're called skates. And then it all went into football, and then ever since then, I mean, I'm tattooed, love Portsmouth scum. But we're taught it from our childhood. You don't like them, you don't talk to them, you don't respect them.
You taught that in school.
Them, hate them.
It's in the curriculum. It's in the curriculum.
Yeah. 5 years old. I don't wear nothing red. I refuse to wear anything red. I don't have nothing in my house that's red.
You must have red pants. You must have red pants.
No, I've got nothing that is red at all.
Do you get angry if you kind of if you cut your finger or something? You see that your blood is red. Does that
yeah?
Does that irritate you?
Obviously, you can't have the blood. If you could change the colour of my blood, I would as well. But
well, you know the blood is blue actually until you cut yourself.
I've got nothing.
And it oxidizes with the air and becomes red.
I've got nothing. I've got nothing at all in my house that is red. But yeah, again, you're taught it from somebody like you lot. To be fair, you're taught it. You don't like them. You're taught to hate them.
Yeah.
I mean, my little nephew, he goes past when we go past there. He goes, "There's the toilet."
Yeah. I will say, Aaron, I think Keith Knight's he's made a very good point here. How to give ruthless West Ham fans ammunition against your club, Volume 1.
You told us that, we didn't know.
The reason why I asked that, obviously, the West Ham Millwall rivalry, some people claim dates back to the 1925 strike, where they went.
That was the Docks as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's where the West Ham Millwall rivalry.
Yeah, a lot of it was from that sort of era of strikes and Docks and that. Yeah,
Aaron the Pompey Fisherman.
But yeah, But yeah, ours was obviously we don't like Millwall either. I mean, we've got rivalry
No
with
one likes them.
Millwall. I mean, that was my very first game I went to when I was a child. Was Pompey Millwall.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, that was different. But yeah, I mean, that was a bloody long time ago.
Mr. May says, "Do you buy tomato sauce?"
Good point.
No.
Good question. Don't you?
My barbecue. I don't like it. I don't like the flavour.
Really?
I generally don't like the flavour. Just don't like it. Generally don't like the flavour.
It smells a bit fishy around there.
Do you like pizza? Do you like pizza?
And WF says, "Are you partial to fish fingers?"
No, he said fish fuckers.
Only a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have really done it.
Oh dear. Right, there we go.
But yeah, hopefully Moyes will get the sack, and then you boys who can stay up and hopefully have a trophy in the cabinet. Unlike Tottenham, then rub that in their faces because they haven't won one for a very long time.
No.
Yes.
The last time I think they won one in 2008 was their last one, but he won a major trophy because obviously we won the FA Cup in 2008.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been a major trophy.
It's not all about Pompey and what you won. It's not.
I think Nigel would disagree. Nigel would disagree. The FA Cup is a major cup, isn't it? Isn't it, Nigel?
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, it is. So. But Tottenham's never won it, have they?
Oh,
Tottenham's never even won that.
No.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Well,
that's what I'm getting
not
at.
in recent times. No, not in recent times.
That's what I'm getting at. Tottenham haven't won a trophy.
Tottenham won it with all the ones in the year, didn't they? 81.
Yeah. Last time was 81.
Was that when
they won it?
No, they won it.
Yeah, when you were born.
Last time they won it was
when you were born.
I won in 91 as well, did they?
Yeah, they beat
81, 91. It was all the ones.
Of course they did. When Gaza got
61.
carried off in the semi-final, yeah.
61.
I was 4 then. I was 4 years old.
Tottenham, I think, used to have the record for winning the FA Cup finals until
81,
Man United took
61,
over.
81, 91.
Yeah, they had 7. I think Tottenham have had 7 FA Cup wins.
Yeah.
Tottenham, yeah.
Right, but anyway, Aaron, we are going to let you go this time, mate, because it's incredibly late. And thank you very much for the call.
No problem. No problem. Have a good one. Hopefully you smash the scum.
I hope so.
Keep on skating.
Keep on skating. You would never come on and say that on an opposition fan channel. I hope we draw them in the cup next year.
He put himself right in it now.
Yes.
I never knew that.
They call them skaters. Brilliant.
Skater.
That's a new one on me.
That's
honestly.
a new one.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Gary, would you like to wrap up?
Yes. Thank you all for joining. What a lovely show. It's a long one, isn't it? We've got nearly 3 hours, for Christ's sake.
It's Nigel. It's a Nigel effect.
What's going on? I thought it'd be a short one.
Every time I do a show that's 3 hours, everybody always blames me.
Yeah, this is normal for you, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for joining. By the way, if you didn't see me ramble, we did cross the 5,000 sub barrier this week. So thank you all for your support. Anyone who hasn't subscribed, please subscribe. Still skid, yeah. Please subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot. Give us a like and hit the bell notification icon. Until next week, we're going to be back with some rambles during the week.
Quickly?
Go on, Nigel.
Obviously, I did a ramble while Gary was on holiday. A lot of good comments, and I'd like to thank everybody, really, because I thought everybody that watched this show was like Nick. And I think they proved actually that they're not. There's a lot of sane West Ham fans out
there. There are.
Well, hopefully you do some more views from the shed.
I'll dip my toe in and yeah.
It's a flexible contract we got with you, isn't it?
It is very flexible. Yeah. You give me an Indian and I'll do whatever you want.
That's right. So thanks everybody. See you soon and come on, you wines.
Come on, you wines.